Good one. Yep. Yes, sir! Unfazed by the double keeper! Good pass. Yep. Yeah, let's go. Yes, sir! Unfazed by the double keeper!
Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me. My name is Donovan from Salt of the Streets. This is episode 3 of season 2 of Salt of the Streets. I couldn't be happier to have you guys here. This is going to be, of course, the last stream for the end of the year. I know it's been some time since I have been here, but I couldn't be happier to be back. And I was trying to time things perfectly. You know how I was trying to be, we talked about this last time I was here, I'm trying to be more intentional about the way that I'm going about this. So I wanted to make sure that I had a full deck of topics that I wanted to talk about, a full slot of things that I was ready to discuss. I wanted to make sure that I just was emotionally prepared to discuss said topics and that my head was in the right place. I wanted to talk about like the government shutdown, but I didn't want to do it during the government shutdown because that my take on it just isn't nice to the people who are involved in it. So I wanted to have a little bit of separation from that when we talked about it. But either way, we're here, we're back, we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. I have some activities that we're going to do. You know, I've been getting back to the activity, getting into the activities since we've started season 2. We're going to make some pizza dough tonight. We're going to move on. I have a Poolish over here. We're going to go over what a Poolish is. We're going to talk about how we're going to turn this into a dough. I have no idea what I'm actually doing. We'll talk about pizza more over here. We're going to do a little gun cleaning because I got a pistol competition that I'm doing tomorrow. So we're going to talk about all these things. It's going to be a fantastic full show. I have 4, count them, 4 note cards here that are obviously full talks. So you're watching me here obviously live, youtube.com/saltofthestreets. I'm also live on Kick at the same time, I'm pretty sure. I've never actually used Kick before, but this tells me that I'm live, and it tells me I'm not live on YouTube, but I know for a fact that I am. So I'm not really sure how well this plugin works, but it's free. So thank you for that. Shout out to whoever, Sorayuki, even though it says this plugin is provided for free by Sorayuki. So thank you very much for that. It's just the multi-streaming plugin that we're using here. Let me know in the chat if I'm loud enough. I know I had some issues with that the last time that I was here, but I think that we've got her dialed in proper. I am 95% certain that my children are both asleep directly above me. If they're not, we'll see one of them down here pretty soon, and then we will know for certain, and we will cross that bridge when we come to it. But again, I'm here live, Salt of the Streets. I have a Twitter, too, that I don't really use ever, alpaca_Donovan. You can find me again on Instagram as well, at Salt of the Streets. And I started a pizza Instagram for Pizzagram. I don't know if that's a thing. I'm sure that it is. And that's where I'm doing all the pizza stuff. We're going to get more into that later. I didn't want to talk about it the last time that I was here. I think I was starting to do pizza stuff the last time that we streamed, but I did not want to talk about it yet. I'm prepared now to reveal some of my ideas, the future, where these things are going. And like I said, we're going to take some of those steps together here tonight because this is the first time that I have fucked with the Poolish before. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So you'll see I have a new camera setup that we're going to use tonight. I'm calling it Working Hands. And that is going to allow you guys to follow along with me while I am doing the pizza dough and also while I'm cleaning the gun that we're going to do later. It's going to be fantastic. So all the pizza stuff is no longer on the personal Instagram. It is on the own pizza gram, which is NHCB Pizza 94, New Haven Chicago Bar Pie Pizza 94. We'll talk about the second half. Pizza 94, it's a new project we have going on here. So it's going to be fantastic. I'm very, very excited about it, and I feel invested enough in it to discuss it with you. So that is where I'm at with that. Something else we have going on that I'm pretty sure that we discussed. We did the last time that I was here. We talked about the chest competition that I have going on with Trenton. I have a sweatshirt on because it's winter, and in Washington it's very fucking cold. So typically I would try and be down here in a white tee so we could talk about how broad I'm getting. You can particularly see it well in the side shot. Just down jacked, I'm starting to get. You can even kind of see it in the sweatshirt. So the titties are popping. I'm pretty excited. We're going to California next weekend, so I'm probably going to have to measure in, weigh in, send in my numbers prior to leaving because I can't guarantee that I'm going to get a chest pump while I'm in California. I'm going to be staying outside of the naval base or the military base Camp Pendleton. I'm not guessing. I'm leading. I know where I'm going. I'm just leading. We're just having the conversation. It's going to be fantastic. So I know for certain that I'm going to get at least one gym trip in there. It is a Marine training base. So there's going to be lots of weight rooms. There's going to be lots of plates, lots of dudes lifting shit. I'm going to for sure be able to get a good leg day in. I don't bench well, so I don't want to do that in front of Marines because that will make me sad. And I don't want to be sad in front of the Marines. I want to be happy. I want to feel jacked. I want to feel strong in front of the Marines. So do probably some shoulders while we're there. We'll try and maybe do some chest depending on what the equipment have. You know, I got a fucked up shoulder. The bicep tendon. So I got to go kind of light on some of the stuff. The pec deck, you know, we got to kind of light on it. Little light squeeze the tits together. That's the only way that I can really get after it. It's the only way I can get a pump. It's the only way that I can feel fucking sick, right? We talked about last time we were being jacked. It's fucking cool. It's awesome. Being jacked is cool. We also talked about body dysmorphia. I want to talk about that now because I've discussed it more with Larry and with Trenton, and I was scolded a little bit by Trenton for feeling this way about myself, and I was able to send some questions into Sam Sulik and, you know, ask about like seeing rewards. I actually want to send this stream to Trenton. I'm going to do it right now. I'm live on YouTube. Usually likes to tap in, say what's up when we are here. So we talked about the body dysmorphia thing, right? We talked about that the last time that we were here, and it's tough to deal with, and it makes it difficult to see the rewards, to see the good feelings, the stuff that we have going on. But so I was ruminating on this and thinking about kind of boiling it down, trying to find like a lesson or a thing, you know, a deliverable topic tidbit while I'm here that we can discuss. And what I think that I boiled it down to personally for myself is two phrases: if I want more and I'm not enough. And for me, I think they're like two sides of the same coin, right? You have to, if you want to experience one, every once in a while you're going to experience the other one. That's just how it's going to, in my experience, that's how it's been. And I don't know if that's specifically a body dysmorphia thing. I don't know if that's just part of my personality, like as an individual. I don't know if everybody who goes to the gym feels this way, because I'm not competitive bodybuilding. You know, I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm trying to be fucking jacked, obviously, but I'm not out here like shooting up or anything to try and like enhance myself. I'm just trying to get as jacked as I can be at 30 years old because I wasted so much time and potential not doing that, right? But as I'm doing that, I'm doing the bulking, I'm doing the cutting. I'm in a bulk right now, and I'm feeling pretty good. I've put on some muscle. My upper body feeling sick, but I also have this nice little belly going on, right? This is part of the bulk. It's part of the deal. So because I have this body dysmorphia, I'm looking at these pictures, then even the pictures, when I look at myself, I can kind of, for a second, I can see the shoulders, the chest. I'm like, yeah, I'm still fucking looking sick. And then I start to travel down and I just see this belly that I got going on. I see the love handles on the side that I never quite got rid of because I'm in the middle of this cut. And then I started this fucking competition with Trenton. And then I started doing this chest bulk thing. I started doing the chest competition. I knew that I had to hit this mini bulk, right? I knew I had to be on the bulk for like maybe 2 weeks. I was still cutting. I'm like, shit, if I want to get bigger, I have to be eating more food. I have to consume more calories, not less. That's the only way that I'm going to get bigger. So I had to start bulking again when I wasn't quite cut to where I want to be. But at the same time, I was starting to like plateau a little bit. I wasn't losing quite as much weight anymore. I was looking good still, but I don't think I was making as much progress. I think I had stagnated a little bit. So I think maybe it was time to do a little bit of a bulk anyway. I think I needed to take a break from that cut. In retrospect, I was transferring my items, my dates, my birthdays into my new calendar here because I have my 2026 Bennett calendar. We've talked about how important it is to be organized, right? These things are very important. Keep your head straight. This is all the month of things. I keep track of all my important shit in here, right? These are we take notes every day on how we feel. If we're feeling sad, if we're feeling happy, we're having good days. We're tracking our hours in here. We're tracking our money in here. We're tracking whatever, things that we're doing with our kids or any of that type of shit. Right? We're tracking all those things in here because that's the important part. And then in here, we're doing daily stuff, right? This is all daily things. This obviously all my notes are in here. I'm dropping them all now. We're doing weekly things in here. That's what we're doing. That's what this is for. This stays with this all the time. Okay, if you're having trouble with organization, this is a little side note. We're taking a side trip here. If you're having trouble with organization, if you're missing things, if you're fucking losing things, if you're forgetting details, if you're forgetting dates, if you're late to shit, just start writing things down. Give yourself no option, no excuse to have forgotten something, because then you can kind of punish yourself a little bit if you do, right? And this is how I do it. I'm not telling you. I mean, I am, but I'm just because it works for me, right? I'm not telling you it's going to work for you, but I'm telling you should try it because it works for me. You beat yourself up a little bit. Like, hey, you're a fucking asshole because you had all this shit written down. You knew what you should have done because you had it written down here. You had together in a compiled list dated from the 17th to the 23rd, all the shit that you needed to do in that 6 days. And if you didn't fucking do it, why? If you don't have a reason, if there's no legitimate excuse here, you're holding yourself accountable because it's here. You knew that you had to do it and you didn't do it. If there's no check mark next to this item, why? Why is that the case? Why are you not getting your things done? Why are you not being responsible? Why are you not taking care of what needs to be taken care of? Why is that? So things to ask yourself, right? It takes you down the whole pathway you need to be on. What the fuck am I doing here? What do I got going on here? Why am I fucking up? What is this? Nobody wants to feel that way. Nobody wants to feel sad. Nobody wants to beat themselves up. You avoid it. You avoid it by being successful, by getting the shit done that you need to get done. So kind of jokes, but this is how it works in my mind. This is how these things operate. This is how it works, right? So anybody, my friends, anybody watching, how does he get it done? I respect Donovan, all this stuff. This is it. You can beat yourself up. You get to overdo it with the organization because look, these are also, I just dropped more. These are more notes. These are index cards that go inside of this, and then this attaches to this, right? This is even a little piece of metal to draw lines. This goes in the back of here. Shout out Cleveland for that. Shout out Shane Cleveland for that. Also kidney donor to Nate Robinson. What are we doing here? What's going on? How do we know all these people? It's incredible. What a blessed life we have going on here. So the mini bulk, right? It's you have to find the two sides of the same coin. This is what I was getting at. You have to find ways to make yourself feel okay, because you can't be beating yourself up all the time, right? That's what I'm getting at with this, is that it's okay to let that fuel you of I want more, right? What I have now, it's not even, I mean, it depends on how you're talking about it, right? Because I don't like to say like what I have isn't enough, right? Because then you start like, it just sounds really negative because there's so many positives. There's an immense amount of positivity that I have in my life that to overlook it by saying like, oh, what I have isn't enough, that's shitty, right? That doesn't feel good. I don't want to do that. I dropped a bunch of my other notes. Oh, I forgot. I'm clipped on, so you can't see me, but I can take you guys with me. We did this. We might end up standing up again. We liked that. I also might take my sweatshirt off. We're getting kind of warm in here. We might do that. And you guys can see the bulk. You also see a little bit of belly. We'll expose that a little bit for you. You know what? We're going to do it. We're going to take this off. I'm getting warm. I'm getting hot in here. I'm setting you down. I'm taking this off. You guys can see the locks. I got the heater on in here. And now we get the heat on over there. Get a little, we're keeping it. All right. Okay. All right, we'll keep that over there. We're gonna probably need that later. Let's see. We'll probably go backwards with the hat. So I'm looking down a lot. You guys see my face fully. I don't know how much you can even hear of this. Oh, you can hear it. All right. That's what we're doing. Okay. All right. So you can see what I got going on here. We're doing all right. Let's go with the side shot again. We're moving. Side shot. There it is. I'm feeling all right. I feel pretty good about what we got going on here. This is what we're doing. I know somebody's talking shit. Somebody is. I can hear it. I can feel it. Okay. The mini bulk. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the mini bulk. You have to find ways to not beat yourself up all the time. It's okay to use that as motivation, but you can't live in that world of negativity because you'll end up fucking KYS, as the internet is acceptable to say. You'll end up doing bad shit by not reporting yourself, by not seeing any kind of positivity. You're just going to live in that world of darkness, and it's really, really hard to get out. That is really, really difficult to escape from. You can't be living there all the time, right? So one of the keys, not even one of the keys, one of the tools that I've used to try and get out of that, try and avoid that, living in that world, is like the progress pictures every time I go to the gym, right? I'm taking them, and it's hard to see, obviously, trip to trip. Every time you go, it's not going to feel that different. But when you go back several months, you start to compare where you're at now with where you're at then. You start to see, oh, I'm getting a little bit wider here, right? My back's getting a little bit wider. My lats are getting a little bit bigger. My shoulders are getting a little bit rounder. We get a little bit of a cap on them, right? My biceps are getting bigger. I'm feeling a little bit tight in this shirt. I got one organic compliment on my physique, and it was from an old man that I work with. It made my entire week. I couldn't have been happier to receive that compliment. It was absolutely magical. So thank you, Tracy, for that. We're outside. He didn't have to. He stopped and he's like, hey, have you been working out? Yeah, actually I have. 4 days a week for fucking almost a year now. Thank you for noticing. He's like, dude, your arms look big. It's like, I'm not gonna lie, your arms are looking big. And your shirt, is that particular one you took your sweatshirt off? It's like, damn, Tracy, that's nice as hell of you. I appreciate the fuck out of that. That's what we do it for. It's not for women, right? I'm married. I don't give a shit about that. It's the other men. That's what we're really doing it for. So shout out to Tracy for that. I really hope. One of the reasons we took time off in between streams was some very technical, infrastructural development is what was undergoing. I was trying to get old computers and make them work for the shit that I wanted to do. Getting a lot of encoding overloads, consider turning down this and this and this. I literally don't understand what any of that means. So we're just streaming. We're just kind of doing things here. We talked about that last time. I literally don't know what's going on. I'm just pretty sure that I'm live on the internet. We're just going for it. So that's pretty much the mentality with everything. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing in the gym. I have no idea. Most of the people in my family are overweight. I literally don't know. Apparently my dad used to work out. I don't know. That would be cool, but I've never seen that. Apparently he used to be in the weight room and stuff like that. That would be sick, but no one that I knew in my family ever did anything like that. So I have zero motivation or what the fuck am I trying to say? Things to look up to, right? And I had nothing to try and point me in that direction. I accepted for 28 years, like, I'm just going to be fat forever. I'm just going to always be a little bit chubby. I'm going to always be like a little bit round. That's just how my life is. That's just how my family is. That's okay. It's all right to be this way. And it is okay to be how you want, but not if you don't want to be that way. If you want to be different, then it's not okay to be who you are. That's not true. It's not okay to be how you are. That's what I want to say. If you want to be different, it's not okay to just be how you are. You want to push yourself to be better. You want to push yourself to achieve those changes so you can be who you want to be. Find motivations to get through that, right? I mean, for me, I want to be fucking healthy. I want to be jacked, right? When I found out I don't have to be, let's see how jacked I can possibly be. What's the biggest that I can get naturally post 30 years old and still feel pretty all right about what I got going on? I don't know. I didn't know that I could do this. I didn't know that I could feel and look the way that I feel now. So who fucking knows what I can achieve with that? That's why we're doing it. That's what we're doing, the $90, the steep bet with Trenton. Steep $90. Steep 90. Is to just see where we can go. To see what we can do. See what we can achieve. It's going to be a magical night. I have to take a look at my notes again. We're going to do this pizza thing very soon because I got the Poolish going on here. It's pretty much doubled in size. I was very concerned about whether or not it was going to work because, like I said, I literally don't know what I am doing. A Poolish, for anybody who doesn't know, I'll actually show it to you here. This is our Poolish that we're going to mess around with. This is a pre-ferment, or like a type of yeast that we're going to use to make pizza. Instead of the active dry yeast, I started this yesterday. You can see it in my story if you go and follow me, NHCB Pizza 94. Should have made it Pizza 93 because then it just would have rhymed, but I was born in 1994 and that just makes sense. The artistic struggle, should I make it rhyme or should I make it make sense? What's the best thing to do? Who fucking knows? For now, it's Pizza 94. When we get the actual business license, then we'll decide for certain. Anyway, a Poolish is just a different way to use dough, right? I'm not going to overcomplicate this because I was telling Jordan just last night, I hate when people are really douchey about this type of stuff. Pizza is delicious. Pizza is incredible. Part of the thing that we're doing with the pizza is to try and prove through this value pizza series that we're going to be starting, we're going to talk about more in a little bit, that you can make delicious pizza at home so you don't have to pay $50 to get pizza and like wait for the delivery or go and pick it up. If you just keep simple ingredients on hand, you can make delicious pizzas for, excuse me, not that much money. I don't want to tell you exactly how much I can make them for because that will ruin part of the video, but the series actually. But this, we're going to use this. We're going to mix it with the water and with the flour, and that's how we're going to make our dough. And then in like 2 hours, we're going to split it up into some dough balls and put it into some containers, and I'm going to put it in my fridge. And then either tomorrow or the next day, I'm going to make pizza. So again, if you follow me, NHCB Pizza 94, NHCB Pizza 94 on Instagram, you'll be able to see all that. You'll be able to see how the pizzas turn out. You'll be able to see some of the other pizzas that I've made previously. We might look at some of that later when we do reels and stuff, because that's how we're going to end today. I didn't like ending depressed last time, talking about Tim Pool and how fucking stupid he was being. So we're going to end like we used to in the good old days. Not that these aren't the good old days, but we love Offie. We miss Offie, right? We're going to end with some reels like we used to. It's going to be fantastic, okay? What's the next thing I want to talk about? Some shows. We're watching some old shows, some new shows lately. I lost my little index card that had the things on it, or the sticky note that I had to have the things on it. What the fuck am I watching? I watched Nip Tuck. I went back and I rewatched Nip Tuck. It's my favorite show of all time. It did not take me that long to crush all 6 seasons. I had a list of quotes and stuff. Doesn't really matter if you've never seen it, but it's fantastic. It's a show about 2 surgeons. They're best friends. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's made by the same guy. Previously, we made this before, who made like American Horror Story and things of this nature. Ryan Murphy. It's a ludicrous show. It's absolutely, there's death and there's a ton of sex and people are getting eaten by alligators, and I mean it's absolutely ludicrous, but it's a fantastic drama show. There's deceit, like I said, there's murder, intrigue, there's all the things. I can't recommend it highly enough. Julian McMahon plays Dr. Christian Choi. I look really white in this light. I wonder if maybe should we change it to that one's a little warmer. That's better. I don't know if this is the same one that I just had. I just felt like my arms looked so white. this is how concerned I am with the way that with my appearance. It's distracting. So it's a fantastic show. This is what the show has done to me. I'm this concerned about my everything. It's because of the doctors, you know. But we get what we want.
There's no such thing as favorite anymore. There's only now and more.
It is my favorite though. Doesn't matter. I also watched The Bear. I went back to The Bear. Okay, The Bear is the FX show, Hulu show. Let's hear. We'll go over. We'll go actually to the article view so that we can look at it together. We can take a look. Search the web. The Bear. Because I went back. I watched the first 2 seasons of the show, and it was okay. Right? I thought that it was just all right. It's there's like a lot of yelling. There's a lot of drama. And I felt consistently like it tried too hard. There was one episode in the 2nd season where this guy right here, Richie, he's a huge fuck up the whole time if you haven't seen it, right? Huge fuck up a good majority of the time. They're going to take another chance on him. They're going to send him to like whatever, fucking pretty much a maitre d' school, pretty much. He's going to a restaurant. He's learning. Right, but the idea behind all this is that he's learning to be a maitre d'. He's learning to like manage the restaurant, the floor of it, and the seating arrangements, and how to treat people well, do the customer service, and not be a fucking Chicago piece of shit. Because I'm pretty sure they're out of Chicago, right? Chicago to manage the chaotic kitchen. That episode brought me to tears. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know exactly what it was about it. Brought me to tears. At that point, 2nd season, I was like, all right, I'm in. I understand this. I think that I get this show. Finally, it's taken me this long, but I have this much time to waste at work, so why wouldn't I continue to watch it? So I kept going. I revisited it. Dude, good thing my wife is in. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but there's some guys that are doing donuts up here. Good thing my wife is in here because they might take her away from me. Terrifies me all the time. We have a consistent running joke because it happens all the fucking time. People doing donuts up on the street, people just whipping the street when they're just revving their engines. You know, Jordan's like, I'm gonna leave. They're calling me. I'm going. I'm like, please don't go. Please don't leave. It's great. It's great. So thank God that she is not here. This show tries too hard. It 100% tries too hard. I watched the first episode of season 3, and there is hardly any talking. Not that I'm like, they're not even saying anything. There's very little speech. They're at it again. There's very little speech. It is mostly score, a lot of just really intense, like, and they're connecting things to the background, like, oh man, he was working here when she was depressed and went on a visit and then ate this stuff, and this guy was doing this, and this is happening, and now they're here. The 2nd episode, they're just screaming again. They're like, oh, fuck this, and fuck that, and can't you fucking listen? Why don't, it's just too much. You're trying way too fucking hard. We get it. We get that food is art. I totally understand. There is 9,000 shows, specifically on like Netflix and stuff, just about how beautiful food is and the art and salt and crunch and this and blah, blah, blah. I get it. I understand. I get that food is art. Shut the fuck up. You're making a fucking TV show. It's on FX. It just feels like fucking Nip Tuck. This was on the same network as this. Right? I love Nip Tuck. What are we doing here? Nip Tuck is great. It's art. But this is too much. We're trying way too hard with this show. I do not understand it. I do not get why we are doing this. So I'm out on it. Like I said, I understand, but I'm over it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go back. I can't handle it anymore. So I'm over The Bear. I might go back in a few months. We'll have to see, but I'm just not convinced. Jordan's mom, my mother-in-law, she's like, you gotta watch it. You gotta watch it. Season 4, it's amazing, which would require me to got through season 3 to get to season 4. And I just don't know if we're doing that, man. I just don't know if that's what we're gonna do. Watch another show shout out to Rebecca. This is the last one, and then we'll move on. We'll probably start. We're going to talk about guns a little bit, and then we're going to do pizza because we got to get the pizza thing going. The Poolish is going to get sad soon if we don't. I'm learning a lot about bread, right? Learning a lot about bread because I want to make better pizza. So that's how we arrived on the Poolish thing. That's how we found out about all of this weird shit. The sourdough starter. I don't know. I just started talking about pretentiousness. The Poolish. We'll get into more detail. I don't even know if we want to. Yeah, there it is. Tell me lies. Okay, so Rebecca, we're going to talk about the Poolish in a minute when we start talking about pizza, right? We start getting into pizza. But that's how we got here. Tell me lies. Rebecca told me about this show. It's a total fucking girl drama show, right? Because I finished Nip Tuck. Like Rebecca, I need a new show. Rebecca's a girl who I work with. She's a couple years older than me. We lived in the same town. Who fucking cares, right? So the point being, Rebecca is really into all of these girl drama shows. She's really specifically into reality TV, which I'm not into, but I know that she's going to find a show for me. What do you got, Rebecca? What do you recommend? Because I told her about Nip Tuck. She was into Nip Tuck because I thought it was just right up her alley. So then when I finished Nip Tuck, and then she's like, whatever, in the first season, I'm like, okay, what do you got? What do you got for me? So she recommends Tell Me Lies. Okay, the show is based on a book. I haven't read the book, but my wife was familiar with the book. Shout out to Jay. She doesn't like when I use her name. Also created by Megan Oppenheimer. You gotta believe the name is specific enough. She's got to be related to the man, right? You have got to assume that she's related to that man. Has anybody ever donated to Wikipedia? I haven't. Probably should. I don't know. I don't really know. I'm definitely not going to do it here on this stream because that requires credit card information and all that stuff. But I'm going to consider it because they're saying that they're down bad. So Tell Me Lies, right? We got to wonder if this woman is related to Oppenheimer because the name is just so specific. It doesn't matter though, but every time I saw her name, I did wonder that because how are you not? I can't possibly try and explain like the actual plot of this show because it becomes so fucking convoluted and interesting and dramatic and girly, but it is extremely good if you're into this type of shit, right? And this is, I was also into like Desperate Housewives when I was in high school, right? I loved that show. I watched a little bit of Grey's Anatomy with Jordan and her family post high school until Christina Yang left, and then I was upset and I was no longer interested. What are some other shows? Supernatural, that's not necessarily a girl drama show, but it's kind of leans up in that, you know, area. Was very, very into that. I like these things, and especially now that I have this much time at work, I've got time to watch 10 seasons of whatever these fucking dumb sitcoms and shit are. I'm into it, right? I've done The Last Man Standing. I've done a lot of these things because I've got the time. Got the time, and I've got the fucking grit, right? Deborah, how are you? It is fantastic to see you. It is fantastic to see you. I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for being here. You're here just in time to hear me talk about girl drama right before we talk about pizza. So this is the show that I've been on lately. It is, so we'll read the premise. Set in the late 2000s, right? Fictional characters, so going to college. It doesn't even matter. Lucy and Steven, that's all that it says. That's all that matters, right? Over the course of 8 years, they're doing a lot of flash forwards and flashbacks. There's a lot of others. The first season is based around a car crash and the death of a young woman who goes to this college and how the people are intricately involved. And there's a lot of deception. Obviously, it's called Tell Me Lies. There's a lot of lies going on. A lot of lies going on. I did tell Rebecca at one point that it was like these people are allergic to telling the truth. It is like they so badly can't tell the truth that now they inherently cannot trust anybody else at all. It's pretty gross. It's very toxic. If you're into this type of shit, I cannot recommend it enough, right? I absolutely cannot. It's fantastic. It is just fantastic. We're gonna talk about guns in a little bit. I was gonna end the intro of this by talking about guns, but we gotta do this pizza thing before it gets too late because the Poolish is it's getting big, it's getting developed, it's getting overdeveloped. So we gotta find our pizza math, got our things here, and we'll talk about pizza and we'll switch over, right? So I got a thing going on in the background of the shows, of this stuff, right? And it's a side project. And again, I was hesitant to talk about it too much because I tend to get overzealous and I just get ahead of myself, and then I make some promises. And I'm not going to say I tend to, I have in the past, because I don't do it all the time. But specifically on this show, I've done that. I've been here, been like, man, this is a great idea. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and then I don't fucking do it because I don't actually have the time. Because I don't actually have the time to commit to that thing, right? I don't want to do that anymore. We talked about that when we did season 2 of the show. I don't want to do that anymore. That's what we've been doing, and we're changing that. So for about 6 months now, I'm going to say, I've been on this pizza train. I got to switch over here so I can see how much of me you can actually see. We're going to go to OBS. We're here. Deborah, thank you. We're going to, boop. Can't go that way. Oh, Jesus Christ. We're going to go this way. Okay? A little stand up. A little stand up action, because eventually we're going to be doing the working man thing. So I don't want to be doing that anymore. For about 6 months, we've been making pizza. I've been trying to, and the first videos are going to come out next year, right? I'm working on them now, but I'm just telling you what the premise is going to be. You guys are getting a little bit of a sneak preview. I've been trying to decide how hard it is to make pizza at home that rivals that of what you can get around you outside of chains and stuff, right? We're not talking about chains. We're talking about like small restaurants that you can go to get pizza. I don't think that it's that hard to make pizza that's like about as good as that, okay? And I think that you can do it for less money and for a reasonable amount of time, and that's what I'm out to prove. So I've been making a shitload of pizza. Started with this value pizza dough that we're doing. That's not what we're doing here, but that's what we have going on, is a value pizza dough. It's very inexpensive. It's very easy, very simple ingredients, and it's ready in 1 hour. So it's something that you can do if you come home, if you decide midday, do I think I want to make pizza tonight? You can do that, and it's going to cost you, guaranteed, because I've done the math, less than it will to buy it out somewhere. Even if, I don't even want to say that, but if you start to factor in your time, I'm pretty sure that it still works out. But that's who even like factors in, well, my time is worth X amount when you're like cooking stuff at home, right? We're not talking about you being at a bakery, like right, or at a pizza restaurant where someone is paying you. You're at your house. No one is factoring or figuring out what their time is valued at when you're doing shit at your house, right? That's weird. That's a psychotic way to think about your time when someone else isn't paying you, when you're doing it yourself. That's fucking weird. Nobody's doing it that way. I'm going to have that number because enough people have asked about it because you're the freaks, but I don't think that matters, right? And if it's only an hour or an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours, when you're all the way done from beginning to clean up at the end, and if you're hanging out with your family, you're definitely not wasting time, right? You're definitely having a good fucking time when you're doing it. So why wouldn't we do that? Why wouldn't that make sense to just do that? So we're rambling about it because I don't want to dive too deep into that pizza thing, because that's not what we're doing here. So while I was doing the research for my value pizza dough, I started having such a good time that wow, that's yeasty as fuck. That's just, oh, it's delicious. I mean, look at it. It's fucking, you know what? We're going to debut our brand new camera. This is the working hands cam. It's going to take a second to adjust. There you go. This is better. It's not a great light that we have here, but we're doing what we can. And when we clean guns, it's going to make more sense, right? But I wanted you guys to be able to see all the stuff so we had going on here. This Poolish, this is fucking gorgeous. Look at the bubbles in this goddamn thing. That is beautiful. We're going to take this, we're going to add it to our water because we did a bunch of weird, fucked up baker's math, because that's what we're doing now, is baker's math. And we're going to go from there. I was telling you, part of this jam with the pizza thing, I'm going to take these headphones off. Part of the jam with the pizza thing is that it's not that hard. And I'm wanting to prove that it isn't that difficult to make really incredible pizza at your house. So I want to try and, like, for lack of a better term, dumb down this process. I have found that many people on YouTube on the internet want to make it seem very difficult. They want to, you need a sourdough starter, you need this, you need that, you need whatever. I don't think that that's true. I don't agree. I don't think it needs to be that difficult. So I'm trying to make this as presentable as possible because I think that it should be. That's why I'm explaining it this way. So let's start with what this is, right? The Poolish. This is just a pre-ferment. It is the same idea as a sourdough starter, but you don't have to keep it alive. Let's look at the Poolish again. You don't have to keep it alive, right? It's the same idea as a sourdough starter, but you don't have to keep it alive. We're going to use this whole thing right now, and then we're going to be done with it. The sourdough starters, you got to keep them alive. You keep them, and you keep them in the fridge if you don't know anything about it, because I'm very new. So from the total newbies to the experienced, you have to keep the sourdough starters alive. You keep them like in your fridge or in a dark closet or something, and you put a rubber band around the jar, and you see how much it's like gaining every day, and then you take some out and you add flour to it and water of like equal weights. And I don't know. I'm not even in the sourdough game yet because it's too much. It's too much for me. I can't have another thing that I gotta, keep alive and like deal with every day. I already have children. It's a lot. There's a guy in town. Everybody and their mom wants to talk to me about him because he's in Kingston. So he's like that's where Colin used to live. We used to stream out of Kingston. And his name was Sourdough Willie. And he just won like some pizza award in Italy. And he's like the only American to ever win this award. And so people are losing their shit, right? He's making great pizza. I'm not going to lie to you. He's making incredible pizza. But I don't want to talk about Sourdough Willie all the fucking time because I don't give a shit about Sourdough Willie. And I've heard that he's kind of a fuckhead. I've heard that he's kind of an asshole. So I just don't really want to like get into that. But this is what we're doing, right? This is what's going on here. And he's making great pizza. I mean, I don't want to like, he does make fantastic pizza. We've talked about on this show before because the pizza is incredible. That's what I'm saying. 280 for sourdough. I can't handle it. I'm trying to get this a little bit higher. We're getting a little bit fucked by the angles. I don't want to cut off my whole deal, but I also don't want to expose too much of the studio because it's kind of a secret. I don't want you to see too many of the who fucking cares. So I've heard the Sourdough Willie is kind of a douche, but he does make fantastic pizza. It is kind of a hassle to go there. It's like 40 minutes from here, so I don't eat there that often, but it's delicious. We love it. It's great. So shout out Sourdough Willie for doing his thing. I'm going to do my thing. I'm also trying to make great pizza. The intent is to make fantastic pizza and then sell it out of the bakery. That's the whole idea. So this is how we start. I've been doing the Valiant pizza dough. I've used a couple other pizza dough recipes, like a New Haven one that turned out pretty good. I really liked that, but this is the best way to get the depth of flavor that can be achieved with a sourdough, but not quite like as funky, and you don't have to keep it alive like Deborah's saying. You don't have to watch it every day. You don't have to pay attention to it. It is not another child, right? The deal with sourdough, the starter, is that you take a cup of flour and a cup of water and you mix them together and you let the flour rot essentially, and it starts to develop yeast in it and it ferments itself, and that's how you get all of these different strains of wild bacteria and yeast that are growing in there, and that's what you use to make your bread rise, and that's where you get the funky flavor in the sourdough and then like the big air bubbles if you're doing it correctly. Right? That's how you achieve these characteristics of the sourdough, is because of the wild yeast, because of the varying degrees, the many kinds of bacteria that are in there. So this is only the one kind because you start this with yeast, with this dry active yeast. We took a pinch of it, we put it in there, and that's how we got to this point here with the delicious Poolish that we're going to go with, okay? So baker's math, how do we figure this out? Because I literally didn't know anything. We're starting with flour. First we start with flour, right babe? First we start with flour. Whatever, we're working with grams. That's the only way to be specific. That's the only way to be as technical as possible and actually make this shit work, is to go in grams, okay? I'm sure there's some type of other lesson in like specificity and being really strict about details and stuff. I don't know. I don't have that right now. I'm just doing the pizza thing, and we'll talk about maybe gun rights or something while we're doing this, or like maybe immigration. I don't really know. We're just kind of going with whatever. We're just kind of freelancing. You know, this used to be an all politics show, and it's obviously not anymore, but this is what we got going on. So I'm tucking in. I got a towel. I did bring an apron down here, and this is what we do in the house. So baker's math, right? We're starting with whatever our value of our flour is. This also doesn't work. Ooh, fucking cares. Whatever the value of our flour is for this one, 800 grams. That's what we're starting with, is 800 grams of flour, and then we're subtracting from there. I decided that I wanted a 72, I think. I just picked a number. I know the higher hydration your dough is, we're going to talk about water now, water that goes into the dough. The higher hydration, the more water is in your dough, obviously the softer it's going to be, the more floppy and like wet and difficult to handle it's going to be. I don't know what the cutoff point is. I don't know the easiest. I'm sure there's videos on it. I don't fucking know. I literally just picked a number from all the guys that I'm watching do pizza on Instagram and stuff. I just picked a number. I just picked a random number, and that's how I got here. So we picked 72%. 72, I'm pretty sure. At this point, I don't even remember. I did this math 2 days ago. Probably was hitting the bed at the same time because that's how I figured it out. Was being high, I guess. 72%, which gives us 576 grams of water. I don't think you can actually see that. You can kind of see it. 576 grams of water. This is what we're going with. These are our values today for our pizza dough. The Poolish that we use, you then figure out like what percentage do I want of this, right? And this is the same thing. We're using our flour for that. If I want this to be a fucking, I think I picked 35% Poolish dough. That means like, because you have to, whatever flour and water you use in this, you're subtracting from your main ingredients. You're subtracting from that 800 and that 576. Whatever we use in here, we're taking out of there, because in the end, it's all going to be together in the same dough ball. Okay? I hope that that makes sense. I know that it's difficult because who the fuck even understands, right? Again, I don't, but this is what we're doing here. So whatever we use here, we're taking out of that overall pile of the 800 and the 576, the flour and the water that we're going to go with. So I'm pretty sure that I picked like 35% because the Italian guy, whatever his name was saying, if it's cold, use more Poolish. If it's warm, use less Poolish, because all it does is affect how quickly it's going to rise. It is pretty cold here. I went with what I think is like a medium amount of 35% Poolish, right? So I took my 800 grams of flour. What is 35% of that? Is 280. That's what we ended up with. I'm pretty sure. Again, these are all rough values because I did use a calculator, but I don't remember the exact percentages that I picked, because this is what we're doing here. It gives us 280. So this is 280 grams of flour, 280 grams of water, and like I don't know, maybe half a tablespoon of yeast. Probably less than that. I don't remember. I didn't weigh that part. I just put it in there. So now that we have this, we subtracted it. So we're gonna end up using 520 more grams of flour and 296 more grams of water. Then we're gonna put some salt in there, probably like 20 grams of it, and we're gonna go from there. So let's bust out our scale first, and we will get our water figured out. So I wonder how well can you guys see that? Wow, it is like I'm a fucking professional. All right, so we have this. We're gonna zero it out. We're in grams. You can see that. We're here. Maybe you can't see the G, but we are in grams. Okay, we have our water. This is like room temperature. It's in a mason jar. We're gonna, what the fuck, we want 296 grams of water. 213, 282, 297 and 296. You guys watched it bounce back. So I'm gonna call that good. I'm gonna say that that's okay. We're 1 gram over. I think that it's gonna be okay. So we're gonna go with this. All right, we're going to set our water aside. And now I'm going to do the flour just so we have it on deck. All right, I'm reaching over. Pardon my reach, sir. Oh, almost lost the lid. I am just using King Arthur bread flour. That's it. Once we dial in a recipe, then we will start fucking with some different kinds of flour to fuck with the taste and the flavor of our dough, because people are using like whole grains and fresh grains. Shout out Jordan Dixon. She's just bought a fucking flour mill, so she's grinding her own shit. We want 520. Whoop. We're at 200. Hopefully this container is big enough. 350. We're making a lot of dough, guys. I didn't realize, but we're making a lot of dough. Okay, we're at 501. Oh, perfect. 513. 520. Wow. Wow, guys, we're getting good. That's a lot of flour. It's going to be a lot of dough. This is going to be a shitload of dough that we're going to be working with. And we're going to do our best. I'm going to be making a lot of pizza over the next couple of days, guys, so make sure you follow. Make sure that you go over to the pizza Instagram, the Pizzagram, NHCB Pizza 94, and check out the pizza thing. I promise we are going to get into politics. We're going to do that later, right? I want to talk about immigration a little bit. And maybe we'll do that while we're doing this, but we are going to get into that, just so you guys know, if that's why you're here. But again, we're just doing different stuff. Okay, so we have our flour, right? We're going to move this off to the side now. I'm going to put it over here. So now, I think we're done with the scale. We're going to end up needing to use it for salt, right? Which is fine. We'll do our salt in a little bit. We can actually just put it in the lid of this. Excuse me. So sorry about that. We're going to use the lid of the salt container. It's just Kirkland salt. It's pink salt. Pulled it from the pantry. Zero it. Zero it. Same spoon. It's the flour spoon. Go to the working hands. Nice. I even got this over the light, but it kind of sucks. Like, it's a little bit too much. I think it would be better for the dough. I got my phone over here, obviously. Obviously. Oh, thought I was spilling salt everywhere. Word, that's like 18 grams. We're making a lot of dough, so we're going to go with 20. Let's go a little bit more. Let's go a little bit more. But we're going to go a little bit more. Why not? Why the fuck not? Our yeast is already developed. We've already done that part, right? So we're not worried about killing it. It's going to be okay. It's not going to retard the development even more. We're going to be all right. Pretty sure that's all the shit that we need to measure. So we're going to put our scale on the other side of the table. We're going to bust out this fucking bowl, okay? Got this bowl centered here. We're going to put our Poolish in here. Then we're going to mix the water in. I brought some implements down here. For sure one. Thought I brought a whisk too. We'll see. I don't know if I actually did or not, but it'll be okay. We're going to use this. We also have this other spoon. All right. So we're going to go in with our Poolish. Then we're going to mix the water into it. This, so weird. It smells great. I mean, it smells like fucking yeasty, delicious, like beer almost. You know what I'm saying? It's like that. Okay, we have all of our Poolish in there, except for what is left in this small container. But I'm not tripping about that. I don't even want to deal with trying to get it out. Okay. Boom. That's in. Let's put our water in here. Nice. You guys can see in here. Okay, we're going to mix this in a little bit. Try and mix together our Poolish and our water. Make them happy. Need them to be friends again for when they go into the flour. I think. I don't know. Sounds kind of soupy. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Okay. A little bit more of an aggressive mix, I think. There's just like already so much. I don't know if it is glue. It has to be glued structure, right? Because it's in the flour. That's what it's got to be. It's just already, I can tell that this is going to work wonders with the flour. This dough is going to be fantastic. So the intent, Pizza 94, right? Let's talk more about that. Pizza 94, that is the name that I have chosen for what will become the entity in which I use to sell pizza. I will sell pizza out of the bakery, probably in the evenings because I still have to work a day job, and I can do all of my dough stuff in the evenings, all the other nights, and it will still work out. So we are finalizing. I have a delicious pizza blend or cheese blend that I have worked on over this time, and I feel pretty fantastic about what I've worked up. I have a nice basic sauce that we have going that I think complements well with all the different pies that I want to make. I have probably 6 or 7 staple flavors that I have going that I feel good about, in which I have different types of pizza that I'm going to be making. I feel very good about those things. And I am probably going to get to about 10 and then call it there. And we will do like a ghost kitchen style thing, a little bit of pre-order, come and pick up a pizza at this time, and we'll have it ready for you. I'm going to close this other thing down just so that it's not taking up internet for us. Because one of the other things, infrastructural upgrades, we did increase our upload speed here in the Philips studio. So shout out Salt of the Streets, shout out Philips House. Faster upload speed. It should be working fantastic for you guys. Shouldn't be dropping too many more frames anymore. I hope that it looks good. So, okay, we have our Poolish and our water pretty well mixed together. Go back in working hands, boom. So we're pretty well mixed together. I don't know how much better it's gonna get. So we're gonna take our flour, put it in this bowl. This is the remaining flour that we had after we subtracted the Poolish. So this is the 520 grams of flour. That looks happy. We're going to go into our salt. Boom. We're going to put some olive oil in here. Just kind of a whatever, you know. Again, we're just having fun here. We're just figuring things out. We're just going to put some olive oil in there. Boom. That feels good. It's probably 1/4 cup. If I had to guess, it's about 1/4 cup. That oil thing sucks. All right, we're gonna go in with our Poolish now. Sounds soupy. We're gonna end up mixing this with this little spatula deal here, and then we're gonna go in with our hands. I might think about putting on some gloves because I'm in the studio, so I don't have like a sink down here. I can't wash my hands afterwards. I have these towels, but you know, I don't know how well that's gonna work. So okay, we got our bowl over there. We're going with this first. We're gonna start to develop this. Excuse me, develop it. We're gonna just combine it. We're gonna get this together. Gonna mix together, and then once it's pretty well combined into a dough, we're gonna let it sit for like 2 hours. And we'll probably still be on stream at that point. See, what time is it? It's 9:30. Nope, it's 9:13. We'll probably still be on stream. So we'll ball it up together, and then we will fucking put it in the fridge together, I guess. You can't go that far, but I'll take a break and I'll put it in the fridge, and then I'll tell you that I did it. And I think we'll all feel pretty good about it. So I think I'm gonna go in with the gloves now. I think I'm gonna put the gloves on. I'm gonna take my watch off. Eventually, we're going to go onto this here table with this thing, because it just doesn't need to stay in the bowl the whole time. But it's coming together pretty good. I mean, it's wet as fuck, which it's going to be. The olive oil is there a little bit. It's got structure already. You can like see that. I mean, okay, let's put the gloves on. Let's take the watch off and put the gloves on. We're going to be smart about this. I'm going to lean in front of the camera. We're going to take a little bit of flour. I'm going to put in this container here. That way, if we need a little bit extra for some kneading or something, we already have it. I don't have to try and use my dough glove hands to scoop out more flour. So I'm excited about this particular venture. I'm super nervous because we already own one business, and it scares me to start another one. It scares me to take those steps, but I think this is like the right thing to do. Go to the gym with a couple guys who own their own businesses. The Windeman, right? We've talked about before, Justin and Ryan, who's a barbecue man and also does like upholstery cleaning and stuff. Owns both of these businesses. Super stand-up guys. They're fantastic people. I talk to them all the time. The structure on this is wild already. That's pretty great. They're fantastic guys, and they are inspiring to me on multiple levels. Ryan's always got something to say. Justin's a super cool guy. And like I said, they both own their own businesses. They're both a little bit older guys. I just think that they're cool. So shout out to them. Said they were going to check out the stream. No hate if you don't, but shout out to them if we do. I mean, this thing... like, I wonder how... Oh, man. This thing's going to be great. I can already tell just by... I mean, look at... That's fucking gorgeous already. All right, Poolish dough for the win. I'm going to break up... The olive oil is just like sitting here because I put it right in the flour. So I'm going to break that up a little bit because that will be gross. But wow, this is beautiful. It's wet as fuck. It's actually not that much dough. It's going to rise though. It's going to rise more. I mean, it's, I know that I'm sure that it's loud, the bowl thing, but I mean, look at the fucking, the webs, dude. Okay, honestly, I think that's good. Like, I don't know how much more I even need to fuck with this. I think I just need to let it chill. The video that I watched said to let it chill for like 2 hours and then dice it up into the appropriate sized dough balls and then let them chill. So I kind of think that that's what we'll do. We can look at the video again together, but I mean, this like already stretches more than my value dough. The value dough is lit, but it's definitely a thin crust style thing. We can take some looks at some of those pizzas and we'll see what's up with them. But I mean, this is a wet dough. It's just how it's gonna be because it's 72% hydration. It's got all the Poolish in there. It's just gonna be wet, but it's like it will come off the sides if you're quick about it. So I think that we're gonna call this good. I think that we're gonna put this off to the side. We're gonna set a timer. We're going to cover it up. Like, I think that, honestly, I think we're good. I'm pretty impressed and surprised with how well that just went. Of course, now that I've said that, I'm sure something will go terribly wrong. I'm just kidding. I'm not that pessimistic. Jordan, don't. Babe. So we're going to set this off to the side. I'm going to find a place to set this off to the side. And then we'll talk about guns. I'll go and get my gat. We'll talk about guns a little bit. Because I think that'll take us to our first kind of like, so I should have been talking about church this whole time. Doesn't matter. We will go back to church. We have been for like probably 2 months. I feel pretty great about it. So this is it. We're going to leave it like this. Our first activity is done for now. First half of first activity. We're going to leave this for 2 hours. And then we'll come back and we're going to take a bunch of these containers. Because I bought a whole sleeve of them. I wonder, can you, yeah. Bunch of these containers, and this is where we're going to put the dough in. We're going to put some olive oil in here, and then we're going to ball them up. I'm going to do like 350 or so gram dough balls. we'll call it good. I'm trying to make like a 14, 16-inch pizza, something like that. We'll go pretty thin with it, I think. And we'll just go from there. That's what I've been doing with the value crust. It's a thin crust. I've been calling it like a New Haven-ish style. It's a little bit overcooked, pretty brown on the edges, not quite black, you know, just because I know not everyone loves that. It's just a particular thing, but New Haven-ish, you know, a little more like bar pie. It's pretty thin, like a tavern-ish, right? It's a cross. It's not anything that we have here in this area. So I think that we're talking about a really unique thing that I feel pretty good about. The pizza itself is fantastic. I tried some other pizza last weekend. I had some pizza from a restaurant for the first time in quite some time, and it was just okay. I'm gonna actually leave. No, we're gonna have to move this for the next activity. I'm just gonna leave this right here. We'll just moderate it together. We'll just monitor it together. We gotta have room for the next activity. We're gonna clean guns after this. We're gonna talk about guns, right? Ryan mentioned a gun thing to me today, and of course, it just reminds me of this age-old conversation that we have about rights versus privileges, right? Because Ryan was telling me I'm not going to air out his shit, but he's like, yeah, I get my right to own guns back soon, right? I'm not going to go into the details of any other type of stuff because it's not my business. Well, he told me it's not our business to discuss on the stream here, but just makes me arrive at the overall concept of like rights versus privileges, you know? This is not on him. There's nothing he can do about that. But the general unconstitutionality of the removal of somebody's right to possess firearms outside of the circumstances in which they choose upon themselves to forfeit those rights by making terrible decisions with them, I am troubled with, right? Unless you are directly, I just don't. More people should be responsibly carrying firearms, and this problem regulates itself, right? I don't even care to qualify or overqualify this statement because people can make whatever assumptions or whatever they want or connections or he's saying this and wouldn't that mean this and whatever. I don't. We're in a different age. Take a breath. Where do I want to start with this, right? Where do I want to start with this? We have talked many times in the past about rights versus privileges, okay? If something can be removed from you, it's not a right, it's a privilege, which is why it's so important that we don't waver in regards to the Second Amendment. It's because if we're showing that we can move on it, we're showing that there's like backwards progress to be made, that we can go back, then we're showing that it's a privilege. We are offering that up from ourselves as a privilege, and I'm not willing to do that, right? I've been open about that on this show. I'm unwilling to do that. That's why I'm happy to, I want to say it in the most careful legal sense that is still direct, own weapons that are configured in a questionable way as far as legality and not be afraid to like expose that and talk about them and be open about that. I'm not walking down to the police station with them or the ATF office because that would be stupid of me, but I'm going to advocate for that, and I'm going to do that because I think that it's important. I'm going to teach people how to own guns safely. I'm going to teach them how to do it responsibly, and I'm going to advocate continuously for other people to do that. Of course, there are some people who probably just shouldn't be around guns. They're irresponsible. They shouldn't. It's more dangerous for them to have a gun than for them to not have a gun, generally speaking. Some people shouldn't, right? It's not for everybody. It's just not the way to go all the time. There are some people who I think we would rather be carrying guns. You know, I like to think that about myself. I'm carrying a gun all of the time. There are guns in this room right now. I think that's very important. I think it's very, very important that people who are in a position to do so, especially of the right sound mental state, that they can disseminate what is and is not a threat, who is and is not a threat, and make choices to execute upon that decision, upon that distinction when the time comes, right? That's super important. We need to be doing those things. We need to be advocating for people who can do those things to do them. That's part of why I carry a gun, right? I trust myself, and I think the people around me, the people who know me, because obviously strangers don't know me, they can't make the decision. I think that they trust me also to make that distinction, to make a choice when the time comes. And for me, that's what it always boils down to, is choice. right? I always want to have as many choices, as many options as possible in any given situation, especially one that it directly involves me or my life, my family's life, their safety. I want to have as many choices as possible when these situations come about. And firearms, specifically the concealed carrying of a weapon that I train with regularly and am very familiar with, puts me in that position to always have more options, to always be able to make that choice that someone cannot take away from me outside of obviously a struggle, removal, blah, blah, right? Of course, these things are factors that are a minute portion of the time. And also we kind of train to try and not allow those things to happen, right? That's part of why we do those things. I think it's important that people are doing that. I think that many people in this country have abdicated that responsibility and put it on the police officers, who we know are not as well trained as they should be, because most of them don't shoot even as often as I do, right? That's a problem. Not that we want them to be gunning people down all the time. Hopefully that's the last resort in most circumstances, that you are not just shooting people because you can't always know all the facts. That we know why we don't want police officers gunning people down all the time, right? However, policing the world changes over time, right? I think that we are in a position now where, in order for the people who live in this country, the citizens of this country, to be able to maintain their freedoms while also allowing police officers to execute their jobs responsibly and in like an effective way, it is important that you can outgun the competition. You cannot stop gun control. It is not going to happen. You cannot stop the growth and proliferation of gun ownership through gun control. It's just not going to happen. We are past that point in time. Technology and the will to persevere has defeated that goal. It is too late now. I have to look at the time, 9:26. Let me write down somewhere. Obviously, my brain is fucking scattered. We're looking at 11:20. I cannot guarantee you we will still be on this stream, but who the fuck do I think I am? Of course we will be. We'll see. That's when we're doing the dough ball thing. We're going to keep an eye on it. Maybe we'll do it before that. I literally don't know what I'm doing. So we'll see. It smells great. Okay, the gun thing, right? Police, proliferation. It is important at this point that you can outgun the competition. That's, you cannot, because gun control is done, right? The best example I think for this is Glock, right? And we can look up an article. We'll go to the side view. We'll find an article. We're twisting. I should probably get like a share, maybe. That would work a little bit better. But we'll pull this up here. We'll pull up a story about Glock. We need a new window. Hopefully it comes up. Nope. Okay. I want it to be over here. And now you guys will be able to see it. It's here. We're going to talk about the Glock Gen 6, right? So Glock announced maybe a month ago that they were going to redo all their guns. They were going to take their currently existing firearms platform and going to make some new kind of improvements to it. And they're also going to end the current platform. They're no longer making the existing brand or the existing brand. That's stupid. They're no longer making the existing body style. They're discontinuing it so that they can make this new kind, let's go to the article view. This new style of Glock that looks a little bit fancier. It's got some new cuts and stuff like that on it. One of the major features was that it was going to be newly engineered in a way that it could no longer be altered with a switch to become an automatic weapon, right? That was their goal. They're like, we're going to make it so that you can't do this anymore, because they're starting to get sued. People are coming after them. There's like so many fucking young kids running around on the streets with guns that are slapping drums in them and then slapping fucking like homemade switches on the back, right? Which just turns it from semi-auto to automatic, right? They already make a gun like this, but this is something that you can make yourself, right? Many people know this. Many people tell me, you put the switch on the back and then you're just spraying 40 rounds in like 10 seconds, right? It's absolutely absurd. It's a crazy thing they're doing, and it just turns a fucking Glock into just an unstoppable bullet hose for that 10 seconds. And children die, and young people die, and innocent people die all of the time because these fucking guys pick up a gun and they turn their face and they just shoot it. They just hold the trigger down, and just whoever gets killed is whoever gets killed. Of course, this is a fucking problem, right? So Glock seeks to end this problem by making it the V series, right? By making it so that you can't alter these weapons anymore. And in a matter of like 3 fucking days, somebody figured out how to turn these guns into a fucking machine gun again, right? And it's not because the guy's like, man, I really just hate this. I really want Glock to be fucked. I really want to show everyone that they can make machine guns. The point is that you can't fucking stop it. It is impossible. There is no way to stop this proliferation, and the people who are scared need to, I don't even want to say that, because then I'm like, here, take a gun, scaredy cat. It's not that, but if you're afraid, you need to take power and control in your own hands. That's what this whole thing is about. That's what Second Amendment has always been about. Has been about your ability, our ability to take a firearm and even your chances of survival with other people who mean to do you harm. Because especially now, those people are not training. They are not training. Like I said, they are taking guns, they are turning their faces, and they are shooting all of the bullets out of there, and then they are running away. That is what they are doing. They are taking a fucking AR, and they're running away. That's how they're handling things. If you are well trained, you will kill them in 5 seconds if you're in that situation. Most people doing mass shootings, right? Boom, 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 boom. You will kill them in 5 fucking seconds. You will end this if you train once a fucking month to keep yourself alive and the people around you. As long as departments in blue cities treat an officer unholstering their weapon as excessive force, it's hard to depend on these officers. I agree. I agree with you. I agree with you. There's a balance that needs to be struck here, right? Because there are people, like I was saying earlier, with like advocating for everyone to own one. It's not for everyone. Some people are fucking scared. Some people can't handle it. They don't want to. They don't want to deal with potential psychological side effects if something does happen. This is all fair. All of these things are fair, right? I respect this. I understand it. I don't want to put a gun in anybody's hands who doesn't want one, because you are probably more dangerous with it than without it. I already said that, right? That scares me. I don't want to advocate for that. When you're still abdicating that responsibility because it's still on you to protect yourself. But when you are not in a position to do so, we even talk like fucking old people, just as like a specific example. Cops need to be able to protect those people. That's what they're there for, right? That is what that specific force is there for, is to protect and serve the people who cannot protect themselves. That is the whole idea. They have got to be able to protect themselves. That's what I'm saying. Policing has changed now. It is because you cannot defeat gun control, because you cannot defeat the proliferation of criminals and fucking idiots owning guns that are bullet hoses instead of finely tuned machines that are accurate and the bullets are going where they're supposed to, you have to just be able to outgun them. That's the only way to win, is to be better trained than these fucking idiots who are spraying down children in the streets, because it happens all of the time, right? It happens all the goddamn time. It is children, even when they're above the age of 18. You are talking about a grown man making, like little kid making grown man decisions, is exactly what that boils down to. I don't know if we discussed this in previous streams. I work with a few people. They know there's a better way to say this. I am third-party connected to 2 different people who have brandished their firearms in road rage situations that did not warrant it. Both of these people, one punished far more severe potentially than the other, and good. Fucking good. You're being irresponsible. You are in your mid-20s and you are acting like a child. You are making a grown man decision with a little boy's brain. You deserve to be punished. You have fucked up in a royal way. because if you did it to me, you'd be fucking dead, right? If that person, I don't want to use their names, obviously, if they pulled a gun on me in road rage, I would fucking kill them. I would pull my gun out, I would defend myself, and your life would be over because I use my gun on a regular basis for training. I use my gun on a regular basis to make sure that I know what the fuck I'm doing. And if I'm faced with a threat, I am going to do everything that I can to vanquish that threat, to send it to fucking hell. They are lucky that they are alive. That's my personal take on that, right? There's another thing I have had it written down for some time now. I'm going to say last year. There is a mall in Silverdale, which is very close to here. It's the closest mall. It's the Kitsap Mall, right? There was a father and his son sitting in their vehicle in the parking lot. They saw two young teenagers. There was some type of altercation between the two of them that was verbal. At which point, the teenagers pulled out a firearm and began to shoot into this man's car with his child inside. The same thing goes. If I was in that situation, I would have the blood of teenagers on my hands. Of course, I don't want to fucking kill kids. They are children. They have their entire lives ahead of them. They literally don't understand the choice that they are making. But that is what happens when little kids play grown man games. I don't know where to point for whose fault this is, the parents, the society, whatever the fuck, right? Because most people are going to point to, well, it's too easy to get a gun. Sure, I know, sure. Again, you can't defeat that. So to me, that's no longer even a valid argument. Like, what's too easy? It's going to always be too easy. And until it stops being a good idea, that's the only way that until that stops being the only way that children solve their fucking problems by shooting each other, right? Till the culture shifts to this is not acceptable, to bad people are not good, these people are not people to be looked up to be idolized, right? This is what we're going to continue to combat. That's until we have people of this I'm going to say subpar culture, but that's not even the word that I want to use. But I want to be clear that I am looking at it as and just specifically the way that firearms are viewed, right? Because I'm not attributing this to like a race or a class of people or whatever. It is the group of people that are promoting the dangerous and improper use of firearms. Until that mentality is shifted, we will continue to deal with this. While that is promoted, while that's cool to use to fucking hold your Glock like this, right? To hold it up by the end. I don't have a... Yeah, I do. We got a little baby gun, right? It's clear. Little tiny baby gun, it's clear. So until it's not cool to hold your gun like this on camera and be like, hey, until that shit's not cool anymore, we're gonna keep dealing with this. That's gonna keep being a fucking problem. I don't know how many, it's cool for your friends to be dead because you're beefing with somebody else. That's fucking crazy. That's absurd that's where we're at in so many sects of young culture, wherever the fuck. I don't know, blame whoever you want with whatever labels you want. I care specifically whoever it is, whatever color you are, job you have, where you come from, if you are promoting the improper and dangerous use of firearms, fuck you and you're the problem. That's how we get to this point when this is okay, when that's the cool thing to do, is to improperly use these guns, to not know how to use them, to accidentally shoot into floors and shoot your friends and get your friends killed, and to get into a gunfight, to get into a fist fight, and then immediately pull your gun out and shoot somebody else. That's how we're here. That's how this is a problem, right? And maybe it sounds contradictory that I'm saying we need more guns while this is happening. I understand that and I respect it. I just don't agree. Like, I can kind of hold, maybe it's a cognitive dissonance, maybe. I might be guilty of that. I don't know, because they are like a little bit competing. Those people who are improperly using firearms need to be scared that someone, a good guy with a gun, as it is always said, but I hate using that term because it's so like played out, until someone, an amble man, until an amble man, I'm using that because that's a group of my friends, right? That's our shooting group. They need to be scared that there are amble men sitting out there that might fucking kill them for shooting at one of their friends, right? Because they're creating a dangerous environment for their children, for the old people, for everybody around them when they do that shit and they don't care. When they see someone across the street and they just shoot across the street, this is a problem, right? They need to be gunned down by somebody else. A good person who doesn't want to see innocent people get killed. It's dark. It's a dark dystopian future that I'm laying out for you, but this needs to not be okay anymore. I don't know how else to disincentivize this other than you might fucking die if you do that. That's to me the best way, because that seems to be the only thing that any of them give a shit about is dying, right? Is money and dying and respect. And if you get gunned down by a nerdy fucking dad in the street because you're being an asshole, and I don't mean like, damn, that guy was just a dick. I mean like, you're creating an unsafe environment for everybody around you by randomly shooting guns and by dealing drugs and doing bullshit. No, you shouldn't be shooting drug dealers. I'm now lumping a lot of things together, right? I'm pontificating. I'm fucking exaggerating now because it's so ridiculous. But there's no street honor in getting gunned down by a nerdy fucking dad, right? The nerdy dad should be able to protect himself and his family and be happy to do that thing. This needs to be... that idea needs to be proliferated. This is on you. You need to be okay with this. You have to take this factor, this aspect of your country, of your safety into your own hands. You cannot, as an able-bodied person, abdicate that responsibility. If you are unable, this is an okay thing. If you are able, you need to be doing that. This is the same. We've talked about this when we talk about like prepping, shooting we do with the able men, right? With the proper 2A stuff, learning how to use rifles and kit, and having, you can't see it now, but having stuff like that with you that you know how to use and can use at a given moment, at a moment's notice, right? This is important. That is on you, because it's up to you to uphold this culture, to maintain this. That's the only way that it can survive, is if you take that responsibility on yourself. We all take that responsibility on ourselves. That's the only way that it can be done. We're going to talk more about that when we talk about immigration and culture, but the underlying theme for last show and for this one is that no one is coming to save you, right? And that applies to the situation that we're talking about now. You need to be in a mental state in which you are believing and understanding that no one is coming to save you. In all reality, it could be too long and too late until someone comes to help you. You need to be able to help yourself. You have to be able to help yourself. And this is a prime example of that. You will not always be around a police officer. If you're choosing to abdicate the responsibility of your safety, you could potentially be victimized. And you're kind of asking for it. I'm not blaming you. I'm not victim blaming, right? But you're kind of doing that to yourself. You are choosing to outsource your safety, your protection to another person. And they're being paid through your taxes, and they're treated pretty poorly by a lot of the people they interact with and a lot of the politicians that they like kind of background work for. They're not going to always be happy all the time. They're not going to always understand that. They're not going to always be in a position, especially when the public treats them like shit, because there's going to be less of them. They're not going to always be in a position to protect you, to keep you safe. They're going to respond. That's why you have to take that responsibility on yourself. You have to. You have no choice if you're able. You have no choice. I'm telling you that. I believe that, because if you make the choice not to, you are choosing to be a victim. You are choosing to put yourself in harm's way. And I think that is really fucking stupid. To make that choice is really, really stupid and unfortunate. And I wouldn't advocate that for anybody. I don't think that's a good idea. I really, really don't. But that's pretty obvious. I think that we will take a brief pause here, and I will go and get my gun, and we'll come back and we'll do our next activity. We'll check on the doe in a little bit. It's been, whatever, half hour. And we'll see where we're at with it. But I'm going to go and get my gun. We'll do some gun cleaning. We'll talk about the Paws Ball competition tomorrow. We'll talk more about no one is coming to save you. We'll talk about church, because Jesus is actually coming to save you at some point in time. We've been doing my family's been going back to church lately, so I have some interesting topics about that. And excuse me. And then maybe we'll talk some immigration at the end before we start to get into the reels, because I think that's going to be a really nice way to end this. So we will do that. We are going to talk about guns. We're going to talk about no one's coming to save you, the different levels of that. And then we are going to talk about immigration and reels. And that should be about perfect. So I will be back in just a few minutes, and we will do some pistol cleaning together. We'll talk about the plausible comp. We'll talk about different levels of how you can prepare for no one coming to save you, and then move on from there. So thank you guys very much again. Thank you for joining me. YouTube.com/SaltOfTheStreets, Kick.com/SaltOfTheStreets, pretty sure. You could follow me on Instagram.com/saltofthestreets. Also Instagram, NHCBPizza94 to Guns of Jesus, my kind of show. Yes, Deborah, we've gone through some wonderful changes here at Salt of the Street Studios. And those are two of them. Jesus is heavily involved now. I'm doing a lot of praying before I lift. That's just like a consistent time for me to pray. So fucking weird. It feels weird for me to even talk about because it's been not a part of my life for so long, but have been going back to church. It's been just about 2 months now. So, it doesn't even matter, but, it's been like 2 months or so now. I'm really, really trying to maintain the faith that I have struggled with for so long, in believing that this is real, that it matters, that this is the path to salvation. That's what my focus is, because for so long that's been the struggle that I've had with religion, is having that faith, being able to maintain that. I'm sure that's the case for most people, but that particular aspect has always been the most difficult part for me. And so we'll talk about that a little bit when we do the gun thing. We'll get more into Jesus, because I had some nice revelations for myself first couple times we went back, and some things just kind of lined up. And since then, I have been just consistently praying, speaking with Jesus, speaking with God, obviously, and thanking Him, and just trying to give different pieces of my life to Him. And so that's what I was saying without lifting, right? When I'm in the gym, is just kind of praying when I get there, trying to remember to pray when I get there. It's super early in the morning, so I don't always remember as soon as I get there, but I'll remember usually after like my first set or two, and show gratitude, show grace, appreciation for being there that morning, for being alive, for having my family, my house, my all the things that I have, right? Everything that I have, because all things through Him. And then to just ask for protection, right? To look over me while I'm here. Just cover me with protection, cloak me with your protection, with your love, with your kindness, to make sure that I can get stronger, that I can get bigger, to serve myself and my family and my community, and just make the people around me, make their lives better, to be a positive example in just one aspect, and show them what's possible, show my children what healthy living looks like, what a healthy father looks like, what a healthy man looks like, and what they should be expecting for themselves in the future. And I've seen a lot of progress in that time in the gym, both in like increases in weight and stuff, and I don't care. I know I have no problem, I have no fear attributing this to Christ. Of course, I'm eating more, I'm doing the stuff I'm supposed to be doing, but all things through Him. And so I just appreciate that, and that speaks volumes to me, that I've been able to progress through this bulking session and had no injuries and no hiccups. And I would definitely, at least partially attribute that to faith and to realignment with God. And so thank you for that. Holy Spirit, thank you everybody for being here. Again, we're going to take a quick break real quick. A little side visit to Jesus. Always time for Jesus, of course. We'll be back in a few minutes. Talk about some guns, talk about more Jesus, talk about realignment with faith, and then we'll kind of move on from there. So thank you. I'll be back in just a few minutes for the rest of episode 3 of Salt of the Streets. Thank you guys very much. Alrighty then. Thank you very much for joining me. Welcome back. Salt of the Streets, episode 3, season 2. We're doing big things out here. The dog just farted. Jesus Christ, Penny. That is horrific. We're having a great time. Thank you again for joining us, for coming back. We're here. It's episode 3, like I just said. Anyway, oh my God. That is horrific. That is horrific. I mean, come on. Okay, I'm sorry. That honestly threw me off. Episode 3, season 2. We're going to talk about some gun stuff. We're going to talk about Jesus while we clean our guns, because we just talked about the gun portion of our show, advocating, of course, for responsible ownership, for training, proliferation of said ownership in that fashion, not abdicating your responsibility, and also promoting the police having the ability to fucking handle shit when they need to handle shit, when there are not other people around to do stuff for them. So we're going to talk about all of that still. We're going to talk about more of those things as we go on. We're also going to talk a little bit about Jesus, as I was saying. Of course, you can follow me, Salt of the Streets on Instagram and at NHCB Pizza 94 to hear more about the different pizza stuff that we're doing. The doughs are relaxing. So we'll wait another, whatever. I don't think we need to do the full 2 hours. Who even knows? Of course, we're going to, boom. We have our items here. This firearm is cleared, as you can see, right? I know you can't always see into the chamber. There's no magazine in here. There's no bullets. We're clean, right? We're going to be taking this apart anyway, and we're going to be cleaning it. That's what we're doing here today. I'm doing a competition tomorrow, a pistol competition with some of my friends. It's kind of a competition, kind of not. All they really do is time you, but it's they come up with a course of fire. It's 3 different stages, and you don't have to come up with them yourself, and it costs $5 and like 150 rounds of pistol ammunition, which is pretty cheap right now, even in stores. So it's just a really great way to get a little bit of training in that keeps you on your feet, because it is moving and shooting and multiple targets and a lot of steel and mix of paper, and so there's a lot of accountability involved. I accidentally killed a fake person last time. I actually have my score sheet from the last time, and we can take a look at that. Boop. You can maybe kind of see it, but score sheet from last time, and on here I had 1 miss, which was plus 20 seconds. So I had a 32.57 on the first stage, but got a 55.57 because I had 1 season, and then I had the miss. I shot a fake person. It was unfortunate. So that's what we got. This is a great competition. Like I said, it costs $5. I do it with my friends all the time. This is like the 4th or so one that we've done together. Super great training. And if you don't have the time, which I just haven't lately, to get out on the range, out of the pit like we'd like, and get that type of shit done, this is a really good kind of like middle stage for that. So we'll talk about kind of how I go about this. And when we're doing that, we will talk about Jesus a little bit, and kind of the realignment that my family and I are having, and the reintroduction to faith and to Jesus, because I think that that's really important. And if you guys remember, when Colin and I were doing the show together a while ago, I was making a mural, right? I had this big mural that I was working on the other side that you guys have seen. You can go back in the other episodes and you could see that. It was behind Colin. And so I had a bunch of different boards that I gave to people, canvases, and they all fit together in the end. And I had everyone do a different one. So I had like Jordan's stepdad do one, and my best friend, and Colin did one, and my sister-in-law did one, and I did 2 of them. And then we had one of our other friends do one. So they turned out great, right? Was a huge fan of them, except I had one. That's over there in the corner, and it was the Appeal to Heaven flag, right? You guys know what I'm talking about. That is the pine tree, obviously, and you know, or like the fir tree, whatever. Above says an appeal to heaven. This is meant to not even imply to say directly we have to appeal to heaven because we are being, this is a revolutionary era flag, that we're being so poorly and so badly subjugated by these powers that we have to appeal to heaven. That's the only higher power that we can go to. If this one will not assist us, if this king, if this leader, if this monarch will not assist us, if they will not help us, if they will not free us of this tyranny, the only choice we have is to appeal to a higher authority, which is God. At the time, I could not get the fucking mural right. I could not get it right. The tree was okay, right? The tree was okay, and it turned out just all right. It's over there now, which I'm looking at it. And then at the top, the lettering was dog shit. I just couldn't get the lettering right, and I was getting super frustrated, and I couldn't figure out why. And then I kind of thought that it was all right, and then I tried to paint over it, and then I couldn't paint over it. It just like smudged everything. And then I realized that I actually done the whole thing sideways. So as it sits now, the Appeal to Heaven mural that I drew up is sideways and the lettering is fucked up. I came to the conclusion at that time, I had like an epiphany for the nation. We are fucked because we are losing, because we have lost our relationship with Christ. We can't. We are constantly talking about tyranny and danger and fascism, and this is happening and this is happening and they're doing this to us and they're taking these rights away. The only higher power that we can appeal to is Christ. And if we do not accept Christ as our Savior, as our Lord, we literally cannot appeal to him. We have no choice. We have no even right to appeal to him if we do not have the faith that he expects of us, right? That's like the bare minimum, the base of the whole idea of the whole religion is to have faith, to believe in him. If you don't believe in him, then you can't appeal to him, right? You can't. If you don't believe that he exists, you cannot appeal to him to save you from the earthly tyrannies because you don't even believe that he has power over them. You don't even believe that he sways this at all, that he has any indication or any direct control over what is happening to you. If you don't believe that, then of course he can't fucking help you. Of course, right? That only makes sense. So that's where I believe that I was at. That like, I've got to rediscover my faith because I literally can't ask for help without that. That is the underlying necessity, the baseline requirement for me to ask for help, for salvation, for salvation, is to believe. And so I'm like, I'm going to go to a bunch of different churches. I'm going to find out which one appeals to me, which one I fuck with, right? We just started going to my wife's church. We just started going to the church that her family went to most of their lives, which is a Lutheran church. I am totally fine with this. I like the taking of communion. I think that that is super important. Not all Christian churches do that. I think that's super important, right? So this is a big deal. I was baptized again when I was a child. You have to surrender to his will. 100%. 100%. 100%. I absolutely agree with you. And if you don't, right, if you're not accepting of that, if you don't surrender to him, then you cannot. That's what's required, right? Is the acceptance, is the faith in Christ. That is something I always struggled with, right? And again, I think that that's pretty common. That like, because that's like the biggest hang up. Is like, how do you believe? How do you keep believing, right? Maybe some people can do it. I'm sure that some people can. Of course, that just makes sense. Some people would be able to have that faith and just move forward with it, and it wouldn't fuck them up, right? I just have not always been able to do that. I have like really, really struggled with that most of my life. You're just trying to maintain that faith. I just couldn't believe. I just didn't, I, like many people, blamed God for the problems that I had. And how can this be real if this is happening and people are dying and blah, 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 right? That's all the same shit. All the regular things that people talk about all the time. What just God would do this, and this is fucked up, and this is happening, and I'm sad, and this happened to me, and how could he possibly let this happen if he loved me? That's fucking stupid, right? That's just like not an educated way to be thinking about shit. I am a dad. I love my children more than anything on the planet. I am continuously fucking up. I'm making mistakes all of the time. And this is not to say God makes mistakes because he's perfect, right? That's the whole idea. But just because you love someone doesn't mean that you don't hurt them, right? That's not what that means. That doesn't mean that you never ever do damage to them, because things happen. Shit happens. When you control and believe in are the all-seeing overlord of fucking everything, you sometimes have to find different ways to do shit that doesn't make sense to the people that it's happening to. And for me, the faith thing this particular time around was unlocked through comparison or whatever connection to the founding. That the people who started it, I've always had, and even on the show, I've had this faith in the nation. Like, I've believed in the country because I believe that it can work. I believe that what we have here is the greatest country on the planet. And I just, for some reason, could never let go of, like, man, if we got the right leader, you know, if we had the right person who could do the right thing, that, like, this system works if we can do what's required, right? So that's the same thing that people are saying about Jesus. That's the exact same thing that we're saying. If you believe and if you do the right things, it works, right? The only way that the founders, here, let me turn on this light so you guys can see. I sprayed a little bit of this in the barrel. This is just Hop's gun cleaner, Hoppy's, Hop, whatever. This is just spray gun cleaner. I just prefer this. Spray in the barrel. I just wipe it down to the white tee. These are all old white tees. You could see I'm wearing them now. This is an old one. This one's too big. I'm sprayed in there. I'm going to run some these patches through there in just a second. But I like to let it soak for a second. Break down a little bit of the carbon that's built up in there. Right? So this is the same thing that people are saying about Jesus. If you do what he's asking of you, it's going to be okay. The people who started this country, our founders, our founding fathers, the geniuses that they were men of God. Were men of some form of faith. Even people like, oh, Thomas Jefferson was, it doesn't matter. He believed in God. He believed in some form of higher power, right? Even if it wasn't traditional Christian Jesus, he believed in some form of higher power. They couldn't have started this nation if they didn't believe that, because they believed in that appeal to heaven. They believed that there was something that gave them divine rights that were being infringed upon. That was the whole idea. They believed that that was the truth, and that is the only reason they could get this done. That's the only reason this country exists, because those men had faith. The faith, the underlying faith in Christianity, in Jesus Christ, in God, in the Holy Spirit, that translated for them into faith in this country to work. That's the only way that it could possibly happen. You have to have that preset for it to work. And because they did, here we are. So I'm just always living in this, like, so this devotion, this faith in the United States that I couldn't explain, that I can't really justify, because I am talking shit all the time, and I'm always saying how terrible it is, and the government is doing this, and this is happening. So I'm just taking this little rod here, but I'll show you. Oops. So I just take one of these here patches. Just use this one, so I'm going to flip it. Boop. Put it over there. Take this. Shove it down in there. Boop. This is just a cleaning rod. They make different sizes for different guns. And I'm pretty sure I cleaned this before I did the last competition. So it's not too bad. But I just wanted to give her a little once over, mostly in the barrel and stuff, and then give it a nice little oil before we go tomorrow. So that's what we're doing. Now I'm just getting in here, cleaning up some of this carbon, right? Just getting some of this going. Have some like the residual gun cleaner that's on here, and then I'll come in with some Q-tips in here, and we'll do that, right? So where was I at? I was talking about the unending faith, the founding fathers. They had to have that faith if that was going to work, right? So I've had this unending faith in the nation that I just couldn't really explain. And I don't know if it was like a logic thing or a reason thing or exactly how I thought myself to that point. But it was either, well, I believe in them, the founding fathers, so I must believe in him because they did, because that's how they got here. And I just feel like you can't have one without the other. I came to that conclusion 2 years ago when I was fucking up the mural, right? I knew that I can't have one without the other, because this isn't the end. The president is not the end all be all. The king is not the end all be all. There is something past that I have to be able to appeal to, that I have to be able to believe is looking out for me, or else the only thing is just the leader of this country who I'm consistently saying is fucking up, right? And that can't be it. That can't be the last thing. That can't be the final straw. So I don't know if it was that, or if it was that leap of faith of like, okay, well, if I can believe in this, then I can believe in this, and just kind of deciding that this is how I'm moving forward. But whatever it was that thought process that connected that chain for me of like, okay, this is real, this can work, and I need to follow down this path to just at least find out more about it, to at least figure out what the hell's going on, like Donald Trump saying, right? Figure out what the hell is going on. So we just started going, right? My wife wanted to go, so she went a few times without us, and then she asked if I would go with her to see if the children could do it, and so we went together. And she asked if I wanted to keep going, and I was like, yeah, I will keep going. I will do that. I was baptized once as a baby, and then again in high school towards the end, doing like youth group stuff. Baptized for the wrong reasons, but baptized nonetheless. And so I'm just trying to re-embrace that. And for a long time, since the deal with the mural, I knew that I couldn't do all of this myself. There has to be something else. And I'm just living, I'm not like, oh, woe is me, but I'm living a life of such stress and chaos all the time that like I can't just do it myself. There's somebody is at the very least giving me the power or the will to move on, because I'm sleeping like 4 hours a night. It just doesn't make sense that I would be able to continue on this like this for this amount of time. It just doesn't make any sense. And I'm now like, God, I'm otherworldly because I'm doing this, because people do it all the time. But this is not just me. It can't just be me. And if I want to discover my full potential, it can't be for me. It can't be just for selfish pursuits. So everything through him, and that's not like a cop out. That's like, it's genuinely how I feel now. And I feels kind of dumb to say that, because I'm making such like a drastic shift from what I used to believe to where I'm at now. But that just makes sense. I've leaned on religion for a long time for basis of morals, even if I didn't believe in the church itself. I'm like, well, this is still the best starting, like building blocks for morals is what they have here. And just kind of used a lot of bullshit to question those things for a long time, which is really stupid, to not do the research myself, but to just take like internet things and let those questions and those doubts of the faith influence me in that way. And so I'm just trying to take a more honest look at the story, the Old Testament, the New Testament, just the entire idea, and be more open to it. And it's been very positive for us. I guess I can only speak specifically for myself, but it seems to also be working for my wife. I know that my children are benefiting from it. Even just hearing the stories and having that basis of like, we are all perfect. We are all made in God's image, and everybody is good. Everybody, like, we're all exactly as we're supposed to be. They're receiving an immense amount of benefit from that. We do what's called a children's sermon in the beginning of, thank you, Deborah. Thank you. Obviously, if you know, I don't know, I didn't think about this, but if you know anybody who's struggling with faith, who's questioning what they have going on, feel free to point them to this stream, to whatever the timestamp is. It's been just under 2 hours, so feel more than welcome to share this with them, just to kind of hear that story if that's what they need, a different view. At one point, I was like a completely godless individual, and I'm just not I don't know. I'm just not questioning it anymore. Like, it just makes, I don't really know how to describe it. But it just makes sense, you know? I needed something, and I needed help, like consuming less cannabis, and like the imagery. There's any number of things that I think most people struggle with that you just can't always do yourself. And if you can surrender that responsibility, not even responsibility, but I don't know. It's like it's not on me. This is through you. Like, you can give me the power to do this because it's your choice. All of this is done through you. So I need your help, your guidance, your strength to help me navigate through this. And whether it's a negative thing or a positive thing, all things through him. And that's why for me, like, lifting is a very positive thing, and I always do my best to attribute that to him, because I could snap a fucking tendon tomorrow. The next time I go to the gym, I could just tear my pec right off and be done for a huge period of time. And, you know, I can do everything that I can, but shit still happens sometimes. And so, at the very least, just like cover my own bases, you know? It's kind of a joke, also true. Like, I just don't, I want someone to always have my back all the time. I can only do so much. And I believe that he can watch out for me, that he will watch out for me, that he does love me, that he loves all of us. And if you just believe in that, he's fucking got you, man. Believe in that, pray for other people, he's got you. He's got you covered. I firmly believe that. That makes sense to me. Maybe that's stupid, maybe it's whatever. I don't really give a shit. That makes sense to me. So that's what we're doing here now. And I feel really good about that. When I was talking about the founders earlier, right? That also kind of unlocked. We're going to switch back to the working hands, and we're going to work on, boop, the rest of this here slide is what we're going to do. We'll come down a little bit and we'll work on the slide. So let's see, where are the Q-tips? John Adams wrote when he was alive something to the effect of, this nation, these rules, these laws are meant for a moral people, right? And in their mind, obviously most of them, they're Christians of some variety. They believe in Jesus Christ. They believe in Christian morals. So when they're talking about morals, that's what they're talking about, right? And they also believe largely in religious freedom. And so I'm not going to say, I mean, obviously they loved Christianity, but they were okay with other people being here so long as their morals aligned with what we were vibing with. And the point of that being, I'm just taking some of this spray. I don't know if you guys could see that in the corner. Yeah, you could. So I took some of this spray, sprayed it on this Q-tip. I'm going through some of the high carbon areas, and I'm going to wipe these down, and then I'm going to come back with a dry Q-tip and make sure that we're good on that front. You can see, boop, how dark this is getting already. Maybe you can't. Kind of, it doesn't matter. We're going to figure out the lighting situation. So Christian morals, yep, okay. So the reason that John Adams said that is because of the amount of responsibility, as we were saying earlier, in regards to the Second Amendment, that comes with the rights that they were outlining in the Constitution, in what the government could never touch, and what they were not allowed to infringe upon, right? With each, and we have discussed this dozens of times here, so excuse me if you're tired of hearing it or if you've heard it before, but it's immensely important, specifically in situations like this. Every right laid out in the Constitution, in the Bill of Rights, has a corresponding responsibility. The Second Amendment, obviously you have the right to bear arms. It is your responsibility to defend yourself and to do it safely. If you kill random people, you are forfeiting that right because someone else might shoot you in the fucking face, right? That's the idea. You're forfeiting that right. It's under that same idea that we have created a system in which we are allowed to remove people's right to defend themselves. It's just like our friend Ryan that we discussed earlier, right? For dumb shit that doesn't actually have to do with guns, but they were able to remove his ability to defend himself, his right to bear arms. This is wrong. Outside of the misuse of this right, this is wrong. I don't agree with this, right? The First Amendment, right? I'm sorry, I forgot where I was at for a second. First Amendment, free speech, right? The idea is that the responsibility is that you're not going to misuse that. You're not going to be libeling people. You're not going to be saying things that are not true. You're not going to be lying around town and misleading everybody that you fucking know into doing bad shit, right? That's why we have limitations on the First Amendment. If you're convincing people that they're in danger when they're not, that's a problem, right? If you're threatening other people, if you're making them feel unsafe in their everyday existence, this is a problem, right? We don't allow these things as a society because crossing is not the right word. We'll use it now. You're crossing the boundaries of what we have accepted and set out as our moral basis. You are misusing the rights that we have identified in Christ and are in that infringing on other people's rights. This is wrong. This is immoral. This is unacceptable. You are not accepted. You are not covered by this document now. That's the fucking idea, right? Through this discovery, this pathway of logic, I have come to the conclusion for myself and for everybody here, because I am your moral guide stone outside of Christ when you're on this show. This is a Christian nation. And that is not to say that everybody here has to be Christian, right? But that is to say that the rules are set with a Christian moral and value set in mind. And if you cannot subscribe to that moral base, if you cannot do that and follow these rules, this nation is not for you. That is the truth. If you cannot align with how we do things here, this nation is not for you. This manifests itself in a variety of different ways. There are super duper small examples that I can give you. One of them being when I was at the mall, right? I was at the mall, I don't know, a year and a half ago. This is very small. I want to be very clear with this now that I am not up in arms about this. This is not the end of the world. This is a very small thing that I noticed that I didn't like when I was in public. Okay? This is a personal thing. Maybe I'm being overly sensitive, maybe whatever, right? But we're going to use this. We're going to talk about this, and then we'll move into the future, into the more extreme example, right? So there's really small things. Like I'm at the mall, I'm with my children. There is a play area there, like a kid's play area it's like a nautically themed. So there's a boat in there and like an octopus and it's something else the kids are doing, whatever. They're slipping and sliding and they're doing all this stuff, right? Next to it is like a small arcade. And the games are expensive and it sucks to go to, but we take the children there because, not often, because we have a better one by our house, but we do upon occasion take our children there, right? And so we're there. And I might have just been by myself with the kids. I might have, but I don't usually take them to the mall by myself because I don't like the mall. But either way, we were there and there was just an immense amount of people, of immigrants that were there. And I'm not saying that because I could tell they weren't from here, because English was not the dominant language being spoken in that mall, which is uncommon, right? A lot of white people in this area, not a ton of whatever, but this was like in the height of, okay, so it had to be over a year. It was definitely over a year ago because it was in the height of Joe Biden, right? And now I remember because that was like part of it doesn't matter. So there was, we should switch to this. You guys can see what I'm doing. There was just a ton of people there who were obviously not from America, right? And that's whatever. People come here. America's the shit. I don't blame you for wanting to be here, obviously, right? But they were letting their kids run around in the arcade without shoes on, and not just like in the arcade because I don't care about that. They were climbing on the machines without their shoes on. Okay? This is not a thing that is acceptable. This is not okay. We don't do that here. Maybe in somewhere else, we don't give a shit. We don't whatever. But we don't do that here where we're going to let our kids, we certainly shouldn't be, letting our kids destroy somebody else's property, letting our kids fuck up games and make them disgustingly dirty that other people are going to play, right? We just don't do that here. That's not really a thing where like it's okay for kids to just not have fucking shoes on and climb on top of arcade games, right? Super small example, like I said, not a huge deal. Didn't say anything because what's the fucking point? It's just a thing that's happening, but that's gross. And that is outside of the societal norm of what we're doing, right? That's fucking gross. And I don't want to have people doing that. I don't want people from America doing that. That's gross. We shouldn't be doing that. We are supposed to have pretty high requirements for hygiene. And I mean, you know, during COVID, people were fucking being made to wear masks and do that gay shit. So I just don't really see why we were doing masks and that was okay. But now it's also okay for people to not have fucking shoes on in goddamn public places, right? It's not a shower. It's not a fucking gym where people are walking around getting the shower and shit. It's the fucking mall and it's the goddamn arcade. Get your child their disgusting fucking dirty feet off of the game that my kid is going to put their fucking hands on. That's disgusting, right? That I'm going to put my hands on. That's fucking gross, right? So they're super small examples, right? Like I said, not a huge deal. Didn't say anything. I don't even know if I mentioned that to Jordan. I think that prior to now, that was a totally private statement because it just didn't really matter that much, right? It's just a thing that happened. I wasn't a fan of it. And so I don't think since then we've been back to the arcade because that's fucking gross, right? It's just super gross. Really not a fan of that behavior. So then there are other things. There are more serious examples of why this matters, why the cultural differences matter, right? Why the societal differences matter, and why us upholding those differences is important, right? So we're going to shift over now. I know you guys are watching me clean skin, and we're getting pretty close to go. I'm just kind of getting in here, and I'm just getting in the nooks and crannies. It's not a huge deal. I don't typically clean my gun down to this level, but because we're sitting here talking, that's why I'm doing it. So I have the opportunity. So I'm really getting in here, and then we'll oil it, and then we'll move on, right? But we do have to, it's a video that we're going to move on to give a better example of some of these important societal differences. It's two videos, actually. It's one from Instagram, shows kind of the status of Dearborn, Michigan, and we'll discuss that. And then there is a police body cam footage. And then we have 2 points on that one, both on the foreigner that is doing the commentating and also the person in the video themselves. So we'll take one brief pause. We're gonna shift over. We're turning. Should really get a chair. We're turning. We're in the side shot. Oh, we're gonna turn this off. We're gonna pull up this video. So we're gonna go over to Instagram. Send this to Josh Keaton. And this just shows some of the societal degradation that's happening in Dearborn, Michigan. You guys may or may not know this, but okay, messages about a new look. That's great. Messages. It's a DM that I sent to myself. Oh, switch. Oh, shit. Oh, it doesn't matter. We can do it from here. Scared me for a second. Okay, so you guys may or may not have heard about this, but in like Minnesota and Dearborn, Michigan, they are just having, I'm going to call it a problem. They're having an immense amount of issues with competing societal factions of people who are from America and then people who are not from America. And the alliances that they have, the things they're willing to support, and the things that American citizens, people who are born here, I should specify, are having to deal with because of the current political situation that I don't think is tenable and I think is very dangerous at the current state because of how tense it is, and also from a cultural and societal perspective, I think is not good for us, right? So I want to watch this video. I'm going to see if we can. I want to, the shit is fucked up. And what I mean, turn down video settings or a faster encoding preset. I literally don't know what that means. Encoding overload. Consider turning down video settings or use a faster encoding preset. Should we try and figure it out live on stream? Settings. We'll give it one look and we'll see if we can figure it out. Boom, boom, audio, appearance, stream. Well, output, audio encoder, well, apply. We'll see if that makes a difference. I literally don't know what it'll do. Hopefully it doesn't fuck up the whole stream, but let me know if it changes anything. If it looks different, I literally don't know. So hopefully the quality didn't drop off and we didn't lose any frames or anything, but it's not glitching as bad over here and the computer's not yelling at me. So we don't have any drop frames so far, which means that it has to be doing at least okay. We're almost getting all of the frames per second that we're supposed to be getting. So, I mean, hopefully this looks okay and sounds okay for you guys. So we're gonna watch this video now. So I'm gonna go over here, boop. I'm gonna pull it up really quick. It's probably gonna take a second to load. Okay, pause. I wish that we could like make this full screen. We cannot. Okay, so we'll go to the article view then and we'll watch this together as a family so that we can see an example of some of these changes that are going on if we can get the Stream Deck to switch for us. Article view. All right, let's see if this will work. Hopefully it's not too loud.
Planning something, and what are you planning?
Hopefully my internet actually
We're going to burn a
works.
Quran in retaliation for assaulting one of our patriot heroes here.
Okay, so this guy said he's going to burn the Quran right there in Dearborn, Michigan. He's like, one of our patriot allies was assaulted, so we're going to burn the Quran, right? They're going to go out in the streets, they're going to burn a Quran.
Cam.
Muhammad was a
Pretty sure my internet may not even be good enough for us to do this. All right, so we're setting the Quran on the ground, stepping on it, someone's trying to pick it up.
Listen, we got another Quran. I'll go get a different one.
And now he's got bacon with the Quran. He's smacking the Quran with bacon.
You can't touch him.
Right, okay, so you can see they're battling, right? They're starting to throw hands a little bit because these people are trying to stop him from, burning the Quran. Okay, there's 2 points that I want to make here. There are 2 points that I find both equally important in what's going on here, right? The reaction to this happening, because it is fucking happening, right? This is insane that there is what you can see is a small mob of people that are involved in what's going on here, that are now stopping in traffic to intervene in the burning of a Quran, right? The second point that I want to make that I find equally important, if the young men burning the Quran, they are obviously Christians, right? Obviously. And I believe, because part of their point is like, look at how upset they're getting about us trying to burn the Quran, right? I believe that if these young Muslims were doing the same thing and they were trying to burn a Bible, they would be equally as upset. That is my belief, right? I may be wrong in that assumption, but I think that that is important because part of the point of their point of this video is like, look at how upset they got by us doing this. You would be almost as upset, if not just as upset, if you saw someone burning a Bible. Even if you're like, oh, well, it's their, freedom to do so under the First Amendment, and they can do this. The same thing as like burning a flag, right? We don't love it, but it's a thing that happens. That's where you're at. I believe you would be just as upset about this happening if it were a Bible. So we'll keep that in mind as we move forward. Maybe. I really hope that this shit is working. Oh yeah, we're dropping frames now. Like a lot. I wonder if it will help if I stop streaming on camera.
What? These people are just pulling over.
All right.
Why would I
Shit.
get Why? I haven't done anything.
It's actually not the internet. It is, just to be clear, it is this shitty fucking tiny laptop
And you're getting heated.
that I am trying to stream on. And just cannot handle all the shit that I'm trying to do. And this was part of the upgrades I was talking about, right? That I was working on, the infrastructure that I'm trying to bring up. I had a bunch of old equipment that I'm trying to rise from the ashes, trying to bring it up for us. Just not necessarily working, right? Okay, so this guy in the truck is now saying that he will shoot that guy if he could. That the guy who's burning the Quran, he would shoot that guy if he could. That's what it is. He's like, if I saw him on the street, I would shoot him. No cap, no fucking whatever he says, right? They then move forward and they ask another guy, well, let's see if we can get it to play. We'll see if we can get it to play, if my internet, if my computer will team up together to allow us to watch this.
Or you're hopping out of the car. You're ready to brawl with anybody.
I had my gun. I was gonna blast if I didn't see the cops. I swear to God. That's it. It's I don't
He had
care.
his gun.
To me, I don't care. My life, I don't give a let somebody blast me. I don't give a
Just because of the burning of the Quran, the attempted
I'll
burning.
that motherfucker's life up and his family.
And his family.
That's it. It's on camera. I will that motherfucker's life up. Let him come to me face on face. Face to face, I'll kill him. On my mother's soul. So that's it.
You're killing him.
I'll kill him. Murder.
Now you have all these Islam men yelling Allah Akbar. I have a question.
Now that we've gone to this point, right? This is the point where I believe there is probably a differentiation between the Christian gentleman and the. I do not think the Christian gentleman is willing to end the life of the Muslim man were he to burn the Bible. I don't think that that's the case. I don't get that indication from watching this video. In the beginning, I do believe the level of emotion would have been matched, right? I do believe that. We are at a point now, I don't think so. I don't think the Christian gentleman, whoever, Nick Shirley, whoever the fuck these people, I don't think that now the level of intensity is matched, okay? I think that's important to note as we go forward. There's a little bit left of this video. We'll talk about it more. Maybe. And we'll see if we can even get the YouTube video to play. I might just talk about the YouTube video because this is rough. My computer's not doing me justice now.
If America were to get in a war with a country like Iraq, who would you guys defend, America or Iraq?
We would support our brothers in Iraq. That's the only way.
So you wouldn't defend America?
We would not defend America.
But
at the same time, listen, at the same time, America is our country because we were born here. But in our Islamic book, we're not allowed to fight with people that are
Not allowed to fight with people who are... Come on! I'm really sorry. I promise that before I stream again, I will try and get this shit figured out. It is a combination. It's not the internet. It's my laptop. It's my shitty little laptop. So the point being, right? This guy then says the internet's not responding. So that's kind of what we get. We'll go to the side shot, right? My whole everything is not working with me. Side shot. All right, we're back now. We're gonna try and do away with this internet, and we're not gonna play the YouTube video because I just don't think that it's gonna work out for us. But what the fuck was I saying? I was thrown off by this, obviously. Okay. At the end, they're asking this young Iraqi gentleman if the United States and Iraq are to get into a war, are you going to support them? Why are they here if they won't defend? And that's precisely the point that I'm about to make, Deborah. I agree with you. We are talking about some serious dual loyalty shit that is not good for this country, right? The fact that we have people here who, faced with the choice of the country that they currently reside in and the country that they hail from, they would, I understand. I want to be clear. I do, to a certain extent, understand the argument being made here, but I do agree with Deborah. If you are here, it comes down to this. You either vibe or you get the fuck out, right? When we're talking about the Christian nation, we're talking about what's going on here. You either vibe or you get the fuck out. This is not vibing, right? This is not an American vibe that when shit pops off, we're going to walk away from everything that you've given us, that we've come here for. We're going to go back to where we're from. We're going to fight for there. That's not vibing. That's not what we do here, right? You either vibe or you get the fuck. All right.
So we just take up the jail time.
So you would
That's
not,
what we do.
So you would not defend America.
I would go to jail.
He would go to jail instead of fighting, is what he's saying, right? He would go to jail instead of fighting for America. That's really funny that it finally started to work after X amount of time. I agree that you either vibe or you get the fuck out, right? You cannot come here just for the rewards, just for the glory, just for the goodness, just for the opportunity. That isn't what we're here for, right? You have to align with the culture or this is what you get. You have to align with the culture or this is what you get. For real, legitimate rifts where people don't even support this country, but they're here for the positive benefits because the place that they're from actually fucking sucks. But if it pops off, then that's where they're going from, right? This isn't like a states thing where like, this is my home and I'll die here and I'll defend it, because this is just where they live now. And they're making that apparent. This is just where I'm currently residing and my allegiance is actually somewhere else. That is not acceptable. You have to vibe with what we are doing here or you have to fucking leave. You cannot be here just to take advantage of the system. That isn't why it's here. You come here because this country is the best, because our morals are the best, because we believe in things that other countries don't believe, that we are holding ourselves, the people, right? The government's a different deal. Fuck the government, right? Fuck the politicians, the people who lead us, who do whatever, right? That's not real. That's a fake fucking game that we trick ourselves into every 4 years, okay? I'm talking about for real what the people of this country believe. We hold ourselves to a higher standard than we do around the world, right? We don't, this is the best example. The YouTube video that I was going to play that I don't, I'll try and pull it up, but I'm not going to like, we saw how it was when I was doing the other thing. So I'm not going to try and make a big deal out of it. I'm not really going to like try and go over it that much, but it's police body cam footage of a CDL truck driver from Ukraine being here, and he's pulled over because there is a young woman in his car, in the cab of his truck, and it's like suspicious, right? And so the cops are talking to him. He's like in a parking lot, I think, and they're talking to him about this girl, and he's like, no, she's 18, we're friends, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Okay? He's lying, and then eventually it comes out the guy is, the guy's from Ukraine, he's lying, the girl's actually 15 years old, right? So, obviously this is a problem. We don't do that here. That is statutory rape at the very least, because the guy is like in his 30s. He's older than me for sure. And that's how it comes out. And then when they're talking to him about it, when the police are talking to this guy about it, he's like, listen, like where I come from, this isn't that big of a deal, right? This type of stuff happens all the time. It's not that big of a deal. When the police have him at the police station, and the girl's mother, the girl's also from Ukraine, and so is her mother. When the girl's mother shows up, she says the same thing. She's like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I'm not even really going to press charges because this type of shit happens all the time in Ukraine, and it's like, whatever. Okay, we don't fucking do that here. We don't do that here. We don't fuck kids in America, right? Again, you're talking about politicians, leaders. They're all pieces of shit. They're all garbage, right? The people who live here that hold themselves to higher moral authority, we don't do that here. We don't marry children. We don't fuck children here. We don't do that in this country. If you think that's okay, you get the fuck out. You are lowering the moral threshold, the average, the standard of this country by thinking that's okay and existing here with that idea. Fucking 15-year-olds as an adult because, where I come from, it's not that big of a deal. Okay, we don't do that here. You come here, you follow these fucking rules. I'm not even talking about, yes, laws, but the moral code. We don't fucking do that here. You assimilate or you leave. That's how this works. I don't care. I don't care where you're from. That's really it because we're talking about immigration. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. If you come here because you believe that this is the best and you want to live here to prosper because we have the most offer, because America's the best, okay. Economic opportunity is not a reason to come here. That is not an acceptable explanation as to why you need to leave where you're from and come here and fuck with the statistics and the system and the guarantees and the way that things have been structured here for those who are born here. This is not acceptable. This is not an okay justification. I don't buy it. I am out on this. You vibe or you get the fuck out. That's how this goes. This is not me defending mass deportations or like Trump is the best. It's not any of that shit. This is a general rule. If you are from somewhere else and you have come here and you don't vibe, you get the fuck out. You go home because we don't do that here. We don't let our kids put shoes on fucking machines. We don't walk in and out of shit with no fucking shoes on, right? We have signs on the doors of many buildings, many businesses, no shirt, no shoes, no service. Get the fuck out. We don't fuck kids here. That's not okay. We are holding ourselves to higher moral standards. That's why it is disgusting to us that our politicians are doing this, that our people who are supposed to be better than us, who are supposed to lead us, are doing this. That's why it's fucking disgusting. That's why we don't like it. That's why the Epstein list is one of the few unifying things in this country, is because everyone can agree pedophiles are fucking gross and we don't do that here. We don't do that here. That's not acceptable. That's why this is a huge thing for us, right? Because that's fucking gross. We don't steal money from people who don't have it. That is why politicians, insider trading, and taking advantage of those they're supposed to serve is so fucking disgusting. We don't do that here. That is gross. I don't care. Even if you are from here, get the fuck out. You don't vibe, you get the fuck out. If you are lowering the moral code, like they were saying, do not come here and diminish our moral codes and values. If that's what you're doing, leave. You cannot be here. That is what is destroying this country. I'm not blaming it solely on them. We're all making choices, we're doing things, we're contributing. That is a factor. And we don't do that here. That is not okay. This shit is not acceptable. And it is hidden under the guise of multiculturalism and diversity and like everyone is different and every culture is different. Every culture is different. That doesn't mean that some are better than others. Nope, it does. Ours is better. Ours is better because we're not selling our wives. We're not selling our daughters. We're not letting them get fucked by adults. It is better here. That is better. You cannot tell me the opposite because you are fucking wrong. It is better here. We are better. Not that we should look down on everyone or whatever. This is better. This is freedom. This is choice. This, America, that's what this is. You vibe or you get the fuck out. That is it. That is the end of that for me. I don't mean the end of this topic. I mean the end of this, like the point. That's you vibe or you get out. That is all. And I just can't stand to watch this shit anymore. Races don't matter to me. Ethnicities don't matter. This doesn't matter. What matters is that you come here, you vibe with America, you assimilate with the culture and with the values, and you push that forward. If also while you're here, you make fucking bread for your family and you send it back, I don't love that because you need to keep the economy going here, but I get it and I respect the hustle, but I don't. You have to believe what we believe here on a base moral level or you can't fucking be here. You can't. We can't allow you to stay if that's what you're doing. That's why it's okay to deport somebody who can't follow the fucking rules. That's why it's okay. Because of the base One of the base expectations of me is to follow the fucking rules, is to follow the laws, right? All the rules that I have to follow, I expect you also to follow. That's, if you're gonna be here, we have to play by the same set of rules. Yours might even be a little bit more strict because you're not fucking from here. I think that's fair, right? You gotta prove your fucking ilk to the game. You gotta, whatever the fuck, I know, test your metal, whatever metaphor we want to use to prove that you get down the way that we get down, and then you're fucking good, dude. And then you're gold. But it's too easy to come here and to fucking lie to everybody. And I don't mean, dude, the fucked up thing is like I work with like a guy whose wife's from the Philippines. It took him goddamn forever to get her over here, right? It took him goddamn forever because they're doing it the right way. You shouldn't be able to just cheat and skirt the whole fucking system and it just doesn't matter anymore. It shouldn't work that way. That is not how any of this is supposed to go. And I just don't. I am losing patience with it. I don't care about, I mean, I just can already hear the screams of like racism. And I just don't care. I just don't care. I am tired of hearing that whites don't have culture, that this isn't real. I'm tired of hearing it. You know, you should be embarrassed. You should be ashamed for being white. It's not okay to like being white. That's not okay. I'm done with this. I'm done with this fucking game. That's retarded. It's quite literally retarded thinking, and I'm not gonna do it anymore. I don't. You're asking me to hold even more competing values than what I'm doing now when I'm talking about guns, proliferation, and stuff. I don't. It's not okay to want to be white or to be American, but it's okay like that every other race and culture is able to promote themselves. I'm not doing that anymore. Not especially if we're acknowledging that we're better here. I'm not going to do that. That's fucking stupid. I'm not going to play that game. I just don't buy it. I'm not into it anymore. I'm not doing that. So I do think that's my last point on immigration. But it's gross, dude. And I'm not here for it. I'm not for the shoes thing. I'm not for the child thing. It's fucking gross. It's super fucking gross. And I just can't believe that there are people who are still defending that. It's like shocking to me. So we're not doing that anymore. We're not doing that in America anymore. I'm not here for it. I don't like it. I don't think that it's acceptable. So no. We have one final step in cleaning our gun. It's been sitting here for a while. We're back to our working hands. Can't believe you guys watch this fucking show. What a ridiculous stream that we're doing here. We're cleaning guns. We're yelling about immigrants. We're talking about immigration. We're talking about Jesus. We're making pizza dough. Whatever. What are you guys even doing here? Why do you come here? What is wrong with you all? We're just putting some oil in here. That's just some gun oil. We'll put it in the little ridges here. We're going to let it slide down there. You can put some in here too if you have like metal on metal contact points. You can put some in there. Just helps keep everything running smooth, right? Just keeps it fucking buttery. When you're done, use a Q-tip. Get the excess. Because it'll just run out the back and stuff. You'll get it on your shirt a little bit if you're carrying. Which you should be. If you're a responsible adult, if you're watching this show, certainly you should own a gun. You should train with it. You should know how to use it, and you should carry it on your person every day. It's your responsibility to protect yourself, and also the people around you. It is completely incumbent upon you to defend yourself and the people around you. If you don't, you're kind of an asshole. I'm not going to lie. That's just my opinion. That's not like a general America opinion. It's okay, but I think you're kind of a fucking dick if you are in a position to defend yourself and other people and you don't. You're kind of an asshole. So we did that. So the slide is good. That's my grandpa's little knife. Yeah, I don't have my brush over here, or else I would brush that down. I'm gonna put just a hair right there. Boop, 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 boop. We're just pulling the trigger. Doop, 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 doop. Doop, 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 doop. Let's type something down real quick. Usually one of the stages as load requirements. Okay. And then, so we did that little bit of oil there. Then I like to take this and I put a little bit right here. You guys can see this, right? So I got to get this out of the way. Okay, so I put just a hair right here. That is where the slide comes in contact with this edge of the barrel. I just put some of that there and just wipe away the excess. And then I'm going to do the same thing on actually the outside of the barrel because it slides through that little hole in the front of the slide, right? So I'm going to put some on there. I'm just going to rub it in. The metal has like tiny holes in it, you know, little pores and shit. It's going to get down in there. It's going to make it more delicious over time. Okay, that's good. Take a look at our dough after this. I think we'll do that next. And we'll break that up. Okay, can you just smell it in here? All right, I'm going to use another Q-tip. I can see a little bit of excess oil in here. A little bit of lube. Boop, boop. Okay. We're going to drop this in. Right through the hole. Boop, there. We're going to put our guide rod in. Guide rod, spring, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, right? And put it into place. We're going to replace it on our slide. We're going to line up those little slots. Boom, push it back. We're going to lock it. In the Smith & Wesson, we have this little lever here. Flip that up. Slide forward. Smooth like fucking butter. Looks good. We're good. That's good to go. We'll close this up. The boys are going to need that tomorrow. Someone always needs oil or lube when we do a competition or we're at range day. This is just a pistol competition, but when we do rifle, when we go out on the range, I always oil up my rifle before I start shooting. Usually try and oil up my pistol before we start shooting to make sure that it's good to go, especially in the rifles. The extra is just going to burn off, so it's okay if you got a little bit of lube chilling in there. I just run my rifles fucking wet, dude. Just run it wet, dude. So we're good there. We'll just put these patches right there or something. And then I will usually just take it with the side I didn't use and just rub down the slide. Just clean her all up, dude. Clean her all up. We got this light. Usually I clean up the light. I didn't do that this time. Should be all right. Pretty legit. Boom, yep. Light's still good. Surefire X300. Got this from Sam for some ammo. Shout out Sam. Sam the Tool Man. Shout out Sam. Okay. Pistol's totally clear still. You guys can see that. No magazine or nothing. We're good. Fantastic. Okay, the gun thing is over. What we're also going to do is... Oh, shit! To lift up this case like it would be super light, and it wasn't. Okay, we're going to go back to the main shot. We're going to take our 9mm because I bought some new 9mm. I'm going to put that in our box for tomorrow. Got this at Sportsman's today. Really fancy. Prices are actually pretty good on ammo right now. So, boom. And I just take all these. Boom. And dump them on in. Get out of there. I have a couple of these ammo cans. Some places, if you buy bulk ammo, they send you ammo cans for free. And that's how I got these ones. Shout out to LAX Ammunition. And this shit that I'm putting in there is from Ammo Incorporated. I've shot their stuff in my 10mm before. Works pretty good. And it was cheap. I got 3 boxes of this at Sportsman's for less than $40. I typically like to do online orders. You get much better deals that way. But this is just what we're doing. So, okay. I actually think that I've made really good progress tonight. I only have one like real topic that I want to do left, and we can do that while we're doing the dough, which is great. So I'm bringing all of this stuff with me to the competition tomorrow. It's pistol only, so I have some various magazines. These are the 10 rounders that came with my pistol because we live in a cucked state. These are some full sizers that I bought before I bought the gun because I'm smart. They're dying a little bit. This is the hockey stick that you know, you should always have a hockey stick. A couple of chamber flags, and then this is a little baggie that I put my carry ammo in while I'm doing the competition. So put those things in there. Boom, that is latched down. We have our cleaning stuff in here. That is latched down. I'm going to take this whole organizer with us tomorrow, along with the belt and our hearing protection and that 9mm ammunition. Oh, yeah, okay. Okay. I'm going to put this, just for now, I'm going to put it in this holster. But bring our belt that we'll bring tomorrow. Our magic battle belt. Nice Safariland. Put that in there. Call that good to go. And we'll bring that upstairs when the stream is done. What I'm going to do now is I have a Gia bottle. I'm going to spray this down. It's my working surface, just because I was just cleaning guns on it. So use that. That's good to go. That's good to go. Clean our hands a little bit. The dough is crazy smelly. Crazy smelly. I'm going to grab some containers and I guess we can split it first. I'm going to grab gloves. I need gloves. You guys can't even see my face because I forgot to move the camera up. We're gonna be standing now. So, all right, I'm gonna hit the back soon thing for like 2 seconds while I go over and I grab some gloves and shit. So we'll be back for real in like 2 seconds. Okay, have our gloves. We are going to bring our dough over here. Oh yeah, it's very relaxed. We'll switch to the working hands. You can see it's very, very relaxed. I'm going to pour it out onto here. I'm going to put the dough balls here while we wait, and then I will oil the containers and put them in there. See, this is the towel that we just used. It's probably dirty. I'm going to grab another one. Boop. Putting a towel in our waist, in our pants. Reason always says, Reason's been helping with the dough. So we need to put a towel in my pants. Because when I'm not using an apron, I do this. I just take a dish towel. Boop, just tuck it in my pants. Just tuck it into my pants. I'm like an Italian. I have some serious allegations from my friends that I'm Italian. I am not. But there are allegations. Move my stool. Need to get a chair. Okay, so we'll put our gloves on. And I'm just gonna like rapidly scoop it out. Okay. Honestly, that looks pretty fucking good. Where's our, there it is. Okay. So I don't remember what I said, something like 300 or some shit like that, right? Wow, this is some fucking wet dough, dude. I think we need to maybe oil the gloves a little bit. Probably help. Oh. Okay. Oh yeah. Ooh, 277. That's pretty close. 300. Wow. Ooh. Okay. Okay. It's our first dough ball. $289. I should turn this around so you guys can see the numbers. 300. Okay. So then I'm taking it and I'm just trying to ball it up. So I'm like turning it in on itself, giving it a little bit of tension. Put more olive oil on the dough or on the fucking. Oop. There we go. Much easier to handle. Okay, sorry, I guess I should be talking about something when I'm doing this, not just doing dough. So let's talk quickly about, the last topic I have is to continue on by discussing no one is coming to save you, right? And I was kind of talking about that earlier. There's a few different levels to that. The first one being just kind of general preparation, right? That accepting that you can't be in control all the time. Sometimes emergencies are going to happen, and it's going to be really unfortunate. And so to prepare for that, you should probably just have basic stuff, right? Basic like tools in your car, right? That's a really good base example of just being prepared for that stuff. And that aspect of knowing that's coming to save you is, like we were talking about, you know, it's really, for real, no one might be able to come and save you if you get into some type of car accident, right? You for real might be by yourself. You might not have cell phone, shit, turn back on. You might not have cell phone coverage. You might not have anybody who can come to help you, even if they're somewhere near you. That one's $250. How much is this one? This one's $255. Okay, we're gonna leave these last two as they are, and I will show you another method that I've heard about. I've never, I mean, I've kind of done it to ball the dough. Shit's pretty wet though, so I don't know if it will. It's okay. Okay, so like I was saying, that first step is just having kind of some stuff in your car, right? No one's coming to save you. And I don't mean like for real, no one's coming to save you, but you should be kind of operating under that general principle that that no one is going to come to save you. Did you weigh number 3? I did. Yes, that one is also 300. I'm pretty sure. Let's find out. I'm pretty sure that I did. Oh, you're wrong. You're right. That one's 276, so I did not. So, but I think that we'll just remember that. I'm going to just write them down because at this point we're just talking about the size of the pizzas that we're going to make. I'm not super crazy concerned about that. And at least we're kind of even on these last ones. So thank you, Deborah. I did not weigh number 3. I just started making it beautiful. Okay. Okay. Past regular preparation. Oh, right. No one's coming to save you. I don't mean that for real, but I mean you should be existing in that headspace so that you can be better prepared for anything that might come to you, right? The roadside thing is just one small example of something that can happen to you, okay? Another step up from that is like we were talking about, should probably have a gun. You should probably have a gun. You should probably know how to use it. If you have any even kind of semblance of comfortability with that, you should probably find out how to use it. Train yourself on the regular. Find a group of people if you can, because that is the next step. And there's even different levels to this, right? Because there are people like the Amble Men. These are pretty good. Those ones are better. That one's all right. This one's loose. There's groups like us, the Amble Men, right? We're pretty chill. It's me and a bunch of my buddies, and we're even like less active than when we first started, but we are still out shooting, and we get together in groups to push ourselves, to come up with more ideas, and to have a community of people that we can work with if things go bad. I'm separating out these containers. I'm going to put oil in them. Boop, 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 and boop. We're going to go with the smallest one over here. Oh, oh, all right. That got shitty really quick. The gloves are not perfect, but it's what we have to do for this current setup. And I'm going to be getting a pizza oven for Christmas from my company. It's the present that I've selected. And so we will be doing pizza cook streams in 2026, just so everybody knows. So be ready for that. Boom. There's that one. Okay. So this one is 250. This one is 250. I want to put that one on the scale. This one is 270. And these ones are 300. This dough is fucking gorgeous. I'm not going to lie to you guys. It is beautiful. And I'm really thrilled with that. I have, just over here, hold on. Okay, rolled paper towels that I just went and grabbed. And I want to get to my list. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Tools, training, Ambleman. Yes. Okay. The next level, right? Because the Ambleman, like I said, is just one tier. Just one tier. Of the way that you can prepare yourself. Of an example of no one is coming to save you. that we are connected in different groups. Some of us closer together than others, but spread out over kind of this sector of Western Washington. And that allows us to have a network of people, not only that we can go to train with, but again, if we are in a position where no one can come to save us, they can assist us, right? If we are alone, we have people that we can turn to in that situation that will help us. So that's one level, right? We're pushing ourselves. We have group chat. Obviously, we're talking all the time to keep ourselves fucking going, okay? Then there, oh shit, there's oil all over this. I gotta, God damn it. Then there's other groups called like PNW Gorilla, right? These guys are fucking on another level. They are like the Amblemen on steroids. They are out like every weekend. They are doing huge courses of fire. They have gear regulations. I mean, they are the close, and this is a totally positive thing, right? They are the closest thing that you could get to a paramilitary organization that is like respectable and not super fucking gay, right? Because those dudes are certified badasses. The level of stuff that they're doing, the competition and training that they are taking part in puts us to shame in a lot of ways. That they are like, all of their members are super fucking fit. They are in really good positions to be making sure that everybody around them is safe, and that's a priority for them, right? Not that it isn't for us, but those dudes have standards. They're like the closest thing you get to a paramilitary organization that is not super gay. So huge shout out to them. It is just like, it's just a bit too much for me. And that's me personally, because I think that it's fucking fantastic. And if I was a single man, I would probably be more into it. And that's not like an excuse, because there are people in that group that have children and are married and stuff like that. That just doesn't work for my life. But what they're doing has an immense amount of value, and I think if you don't know about it, then you just don't ever, like, you're just not exposed to it. And so it never comes to your mind. So you can look them up on Instagram and on YouTube so you can learn more about them. But those things are important because not only for you to have community, for you to grow, but for your own mental state, to know that those things exist, to know that you have people that you can support, that you can rely on, because in 2025, it's lonely as fuck. I was insanely depressed 2 weeks ago. Like, I mean, I don't remember the last time that I was that fucking depressed. I do not remember the last time I was that fucked up. And even then, like, I just didn't want to talk to anybody because I didn't want to be burdening people with my problems, right? The Amblemen are my best friends. There are people in the group that are my best friends. And I still was so fucked up about asking for help, about burdening other people, about making their lives harder, that I didn't want to talk. And when you're putting yourself in, this is why military bonds are so extreme and can be so lifelong, because when you are in situations that are so fucked up and they are so trying, you form immense bonds, extremely tight bonds with those people. And in most cases, for most people, the military is like the most extreme situations that you're going to find yourself in. The PNW Guerrilla and whatever their group is called, they're doing that to themselves. They are forcing those bonds to be created, which you can't overvalue. That you literally can't. Like, there's nothing better than that. And that's what they're doing. They're forcing those interactions. They're forcing those experiences, which is bringing them closer together. It is honestly pretty genius that they're doing that. And there's a lot of youth in that group. This is all from the outside. Obviously, I have never been to a training with them. I don't have the fucking nards, but there's a lot of youth in that group, and that's positive. They are finding leadership. They are finding value. They are finding worth in that training, in that group, in those experiences. And that is exactly what men need, especially right now. So I can't recommend that enough. If you're in this area and you're looking for something like that, I would recommend that group. They have tryouts, because You have to be able to make the cut to be a part of that group. I think this is fucking cool, right? I think that that's rad that they're doing that. I think that's a positive thing. So I would recommend to no end checking them out and trying to be a part of that group, because I think that you're going to gain immense value if you're a young man and you can find them and you can do that. I think that's going to do wonders for you. I had two other points that are not well made without video, and that kind of also like fucks with my reels thing, because you saw how well it went on the end. I feel very good about the point that we're at in the stream here. I've got the activities done that I wanted to get done, and I have discussed the things that I want to discuss. So I feel comfortable with where we're at now, and I think I'm going to wrap us to a close because I was not able to do the reels things. So I want to have just some closing notes. I think these are all off the cuff, like much of the show has been. If you've been watching the show for any period of time, you've seen varying levels of preparation. Some have been fully typed out notes with like whole written reading sections and stuff. Today we are operating off of note cards with cues. So that's what we're doing today. So if you enjoy the stream, make sure that you like and you subscribe and tell your friends, share this with them, because that's the only way that this can grow. I'm gonna continue to vary the content that we have here. Like I said, next year we're gonna be looking at some actual pizza streams where we're not just making dough, but when we are actually cooking pizzas. I have an electric indoor oven that I got my eye on through Bennick. We're gonna rejigger the studio a little bit so that we can make the dough and then we can cook some pizzas. It's going to be fantastic. We're going to be doing the same stuff while we're cooking pizza. So, I only did a couple of streams this year, and I did a couple of other pre-recorded videos that I think had value at the time. I didn't really enjoy that content as much because it was just harder for me to do, even though I'm doing some of that now with the pizza stuff. But the streaming for expressing myself and the views that I have, I think this is the correct avenue for that. So I am going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep chasing this because I think that this works well. And I think that if we can combine politics and culture like we've been talking about for so long, and just say things that are reasonable and just make points that make sense, I think that we're going to be really winning and making progress as a country, as a society, as a small group, as a channel here. So thank you to everybody who watched this stream tonight. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being here. Like I said, make sure that you like and subscribe. Tell your friends. This was a big year for us as a Phillips family and as a channel and stuff. We went through a lot of changes and a lot of challenges. Last year, I remember reflecting, being like, this was 2024 was the hardest year of my life. Hands down, this is the hardest year of my life. And this year might have been harder than last year. But I think that that is like part of being an adult. I'm sure that there are times that are easy and there are times that are more difficult. But I think, especially as a man, and I'm not degrading any women here, but your life is filled with challenges. This is a general thing, but as far as like finding value in yourself, your life is filled with challenges that you have no choice but to overcome. You have to just continue to push forward and find value and meaning in those things. I believe that getting closer to God and Jesus in this year and in the coming years is only going to add value to that and is going to make those things in my life easier. I don't even know if easier is the right word, but like make more sense. So I'm going to keep chasing that. And that's what we're going to be doing here. We're going to be growing as much as we can as people and as a culture and as a society. I want you guys to get better. I want us to get better. I want this country to get better. I want us to heal. I want us to have guidance. I want us to have protection. And all those things can be provided through Jesus. It was so fucking weird, like even saying that. I've just been like so I'm like legit tearing up. I've just been so like anti-religion for so long that I just like didn't believe it, that it feels weird to even discuss things in these terms. But It just makes sense. You know, I don't know how else to like describe it. It just makes sense. It just clicked. I don't know how else to describe it. It just is what it is. So if we can realign ourselves with faith and realign ourselves with the covenant that our forefathers made with Jesus Christ, then I think that we can seriously make moves forward. It is just like I said with the mural. You know, if we want to appeal to heaven, we have to have that faith. And I think this is the time for that. So I want to thank you guys. Thank you, Deborah and Leif and Katie. Jordan was here. I know a couple other people were here. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for supporting me, for whatever, being for people that are willing to actually spend their time watching this. I do think this is going to grow in the future, especially as we mix more pizza in there. People want to see pizza, and then I'm going to sneak the politics in on you. So I'll just drop a gun on your pizza pie, and then we'll go there. So that's a t-shirt, gun on a pizza pie. Thank you guys. I will be back early January, and we will talk pizza. We will make pizza. We will talk politics, and we will make positive change. So thank you guys very much for the bajillionth time. Follow me on Instagram, Sold to Streets, NHCB Pizza 94. Obviously here, tell all of your friends, share the video, like the video, share the stream, tell everyone that you know. If they're struggling with their faith, tell everyone that you know. If they should probably have a gun, tell everyone that you know. If anybody you know could find value in what we talked about here tonight, share this with them, and let's just turn up together. So thank you guys. I love you. Praise Jesus. I think that's it. Thank you guys. I don't have anyone. Praise Jesus. Next time, have a great Christmas and New Year. Thank you very much, Deborah. It's also my birthday, actually, on Christmas Eve. We're going to be in California. We are leaving next Sunday. So pray for us for safe travels and everything. And I will be thinking about all of you. I love you very much. Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy New Year. Be safe. Have fun. And you can praise Jesus. So we love you. Thank you. I'll see you guys next year. You're the best. I literally couldn't be here without you. I literally couldn't and wouldn't do any of this without you. So thank you guys. Shout out to Justin, the Windeman, for helping me grow this year. Shout out to Larry. Shout out to Trenton. I know I've said goodbye like 1,000 times, but now we're going to thank everybody that we know. Thank you to my wife for supporting me. Thank you to all of you here for being here. Thank you to my in-laws for supporting me because they're always here. Thank you to everybody who's eating pizza so that I can get better at doing this. Thank you to everybody who believes me in the pizza game. Thank you, Pastors Bill and John at the Silver Lutheran Church, because they're great pastors. They're smart and they're welcoming. And thank you to everybody there who welcomed us into that church and didn't make us feel weird, even though we're young and we look different and our kids do different stuff. And so just thank you to everyone for being so accepting of us. And thank you to everyone for being so accepting of me. Because I know that what I'm doing here and who I am is not conventional. And I appreciate that any of you guys are finding value in things that I care about. So that's the last thing, finally. Thank you guys. And I will see you next year, I promise, with a pizza oven. So I love you. Thank you guys. I'll see you later.